Shellshock presents.
Ready?
Sharing with Shellshock Season 4.
New Age of Heroes.
And welcome everyone to another episode of Sharing with Shellshock. I am your host, ShellshockPrime, and here we are with a new episode of Sharing with Shellshock, and we got 3 returning guests and 1 new guest for this show. We're going to start off with TheEpicMan. Welcome back.
Hey man, it's good to be back here talking about Resident Evil and all. I am very excited to talk about this game franchise.
Absolutely. And good to have you back on again, Bookslap.
Hello! It is good to be back and talking about maybe my favorite franchise in all of video gaming. I have to just be real about that.
Yep, because we had you on from is a change of pace from The Simpsons, and now we're on here talking about Resident Evil.
Only if you don't think about the Treehouse of Horror. There's a thread. Simpsons have done everything.
True.
Maybe they've done Resident Evil.
True. And Shiny, good to have you back on.
Yeah, man, thanks for having me. Been a very, very long time, but I'm excited to also talk about the evil residents that lurk within.
Absolutely. And joining us for the first time, JoAfterWork. Welcome.
What's going on? Thank you for inviting me here. This is awesome. I love Resident Evil, so this is right up my alley.
Oh, yeah. Resident Evil has been around for a long time, but I'll get to that in a little bit. But before we do, TheEpicMan, remind us what content you do.
Hi, yes, this is the Epic Man speaking here. I do a variety of content of different gaming franchises or from different gaming platforms like with Switch, PlayStation, PC and such. But mostly I would just like to say I do like playing Splatoon a lot and playing Mario, Crash Bandicoot. Those are my favorite franchises of gaming that I love to play. And yeah, I do that pretty much on my Twitch. So yeah.
Yep. And Bookslap, remind everybody what content you do.
I do all kinds of, like Souls-likes, Resident Evils. I was actually playing Resident Evil today on my stream. I was playing Resident Evil 2 Remake, Claire B, Standard, no damage, and we got it. Ooh. We got the run today.
Wow,
so I was pretty pumped about that.
Good stuff.
We got it. G3 tried really hard to not let it happen, but we got it.
Yep. I'm really happy about that. That's good stuff right there, Bookslap.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And remind everybody what content you do, Shiny.
I'm just a variety streamer. I usually just stream on the weekends. I'm pretty busy during the week, but I dabble in a bunch of stuff. I'll pretty much play anything. Recently, last October, I actually decided to go through the entire Resident Evil series from beginning to most current just to refresh my memory and everything. And it had some good highs and the lows were lows, as I'm sure we'll get into. But I just pretty much play anything as long as I have fun playing with chat and talking to people while I'm playing. I just have a good time.
Yep. And Joe, tell us what type of content you do.
I'm retro Nintendo JRPGs and survival horror. So big Resident Evil head. It's been pretty much since I was a kid that when I got introduced to 2 that I've been knee deep in it. But right now I've been playing some I've been playing a lot of Digimon and Brave Fencer Musashi. So outside the survival horror realm, but I did just finish up Silent Hill F, and I need to get those other endings because the way that game has me messed up right now.
Yeah. There's so many different survival horror games. We have Fatal Frame, we have Silent Hill, and then we have a lot of indie stuff that's been popping up as well over the years. But Resident Evil is the main one where everything really took off. and it's been around since 1996 when when it originally released on the PlayStation. And since then, like, it's been around for almost 30 years. Next year, we're going to get a new game in Resident Evil Requiem, which I can't wait for that one. And right now, I want to ask everybody, and I'm going to start off with EpicMan. When did you first get into Resident Evil?
It's honestly a bit of a tough way to say this. I mean, I know the time that when I watched my my aunt, she played Resident Evil 1 back in the day in the PlayStation 1, and I remember like looking at it, and I wasn't even really scared by the game per se. I mean, I was just remembering how everything looked the way it is in the PlayStation 1, where everything was just all polygons and just having the interesting voice actings and all that stuff. But the games, like, I just never really get around with the first three at the time. I mainly remember the first game the most, and then Resident Evil 4 came around, and my aunt, she had the PlayStation 2 version of the game, not the GameCube. She had the PlayStation 2 version, and I remember that fondly the most with that. And it would slowly, I guess, would creep up on me for liking it. But I would also say that the other thing that would get me into the franchise was the live action films of Resident Evil. If you guys remember all that
really?
stuff.
Oh boy.
Do we want to remember them?
I mean, they were really like the first one. I would say it's not a bad take. It's not.
I'll give you the first two. I'll give you the first two.
Like the first one, the second one, mostly with the first one, I would say I remember fondly the most because of just how they tried to become like Resident Evil with the settings and the characters. Even though the characters were like their own, they just wanted to make the Resident Evil name on there with some elements with the zombies, the dogs, the monsters, just everything but the characters, I would say. But you know, even then, later on, they would actually try to get some characters from the franchise to come into play. But even then, there's just some memorable moments with the first movie, like the laser scene that everyone remembers, where you know everyone dies in that room, and just seeing how impressive they were with the laser cutting, and just absolutely horrific. And I was honestly scared by that scene because of how good it was and how realistic it looked like to me in my kids' eyes. Just like, oh my god, the blood, oh my god, no. And just everything was just so crazy. I mean, I enjoyed the film when I was a kid, but even then, the games, I would say just Resident Evil 4, it would probably be the way how I got into it, especially the Wii version. The Wii version, what everyone says, that is the best version for the game Resident Evil 4. It was honestly my way of playing it back then. Oh, yeah. It was good, you know, because I just enjoy it, even if the graphics were all there, but it's just the gameplay with the pointer and headshots and all that. So like, I mean, I don't care if the game was a little bit easy with the Wii pointer. I just think it just feels really fun to play with the Wii remote, to point and shoot, just to get by and have fun with the game, you know, because it is honestly my way of playing it back then. Even then, I will still play sometimes, but I'll play any version of Resident Evil 4. Really, I mean, I played the VR version. That was really great. I played the PS4. I played the PC. I played the PS3. I played the GameCube a little bit, and I just played pretty much all of those versions. And then that's where I grew up to love the franchise of different types of media, with movies, with on some games on mobile. Like I said, I play Resident Evil 4 on mobile on there, and just all kinds of stuff that they do with Resident Evil. I just like to check them out and see what they do, and just enjoy. And even the lore of Resident Evil, I vibe with, and I just want to know more with the characters and such, you know, because world building and whatnot. So it was it was a wild ride for me when we were going through the highs of Resident Evil and the lows of Resident Evil, and then highs again with Resident Evil 7 making a comeback, and just throughout the history, just it was a roller coaster ride for me to feel with the franchise, and I was so happy that we were getting new games and making them feel like Resident Evil again. And really, it was a blast anyway. So that was good. So yeah, that's pretty much how I got into it.
Awesome. Bookslap?
Sorry, repeat the question.
When did you first get into Resident Evil?
So I remember the night my oldest brother, so I'm the youngest, and my oldest brother, he worked at a KB Toys. We worked at a toy store, and he would bring home games and things all the time. I remember him bringing home Resident Evil 2, and immediately being like blown away by this game. Like, a kind of experience that I never knew existed. It was one of those moments of like you suddenly realize that the world is bigger than you knew. And I remember playing the Leon story and being really excited. I was like, "Whoa, this is so cool!" And running up to my dad when he got home, like literally as soon as he gets home, he walked in the door. I'm like 8 years old, way too young to be playing, and I like run over to him and I just start telling him like, "Dad, it's really cool. It's really cool. I was playing this game and I got this gun and then I got these parts for it to let it shoot 3 times." And he's tired and he's like, "You have a what?" Like has that panic parent moment of like, "I'm sorry, what?" And I'm like, "In this game, obviously, duh. Like, that's what I'm talking about. I'm just right here." Because I was a precocious little jerk. Surprise. Surprise. Yeah, I was like so over the moon about it, and I played it all the time. My brothers, they played through, like, they did one story, then they did the B-side, and then they were done. They were like, "Oh, okay, that's cool." I played every permutation, kept going back and forth, would try it again. I would try to go through and use, like, as little ammo as possible. I was so all about it. I saved up all my allowance. I got, like, $2 for allowance every week, like, nothing. Saved up all my money, and then the first game I ever bought with my own money, didn't have to share it with my brothers, was I gave my oldest brother the like $30 or whatever I had saved up for him to buy Resident Evil 1 from the store and like bring it back. And then I was obsessed with that. Weirdly, Resident Evil 2 didn't scare me. It was like enough of an adventure game that I was down with it.
Yeah.
RE1 actually scared me. I remember like playing the director's cut version where I guess you had to like button mash to push the zombies off you, and it just killed me in one bite because I didn't do anything. I didn't know what I didn't understand.
Yeah.
And I remember that being scary of like, oh, I could actually die. Like, whoa, oh, okay. And then not playing the like arrange mode anymore.
Yeah.
But then, ever since, I never got to play 3 back on the PlayStation, but I did play Code Veronica. I was super excited for RE4 when it came out. And I've played basically all of the other ones shortly thereafter when they've come out, except for some of the remakes. I still actually have not played 4 Remake. I have it. I've had it for like 2 years. It's one of those games that I'm like, oh, I'll stream that. That'll be a good stream game. 2 years later, still haven't played it. It's sitting on the shelf of Elden Ring, but... I go back to them again and again and again. I do all the achievements. It just like keeps being a hit of the good stuff.
Awesome.
Every time.
Very awesome. Shiny, when did you first get into Resident Evil?
Well, I think my first time playing Resident Evil, I think I played Resident Evil 2 when I was in middle school, and I said, this game sucks. Like, I didn't understand it. I didn't care for the controls. I just like, man, this is terrible. Like, I don't understand why anyone likes this game. And then my friend, a couple years when we were in high school, he's like, hey man, you should check out Resident Evil 4. I'm just like, nah, I'm not into it. He's like, no, it's really good. I promise you. It's the GameCube version. He let you borrow it. And I played it. I'm just like, oh, my taste has changed. Now I know 4 is obviously different than, how 1, 2, and 3 were, but then I was like, all right, let me play through this. Let me go back. And then I went to go back and play the other ones. I'm like, man, I was so wrong about this fucking series, dude. And that's where I got into it. And I just haven't touched it for years. And then when, Resident Evil 8 was coming out, one of my friends said you should check out Resident Evil 7. I'm like, I just haven't got around to doing it. And then what's it called? At that time, Home Bundle had the thing where it's like, oh, you can pick up all. It was 1 through 7. I think it was like for $30, and you get half off coupon for 8. I was like, oh, this is a perfect time to get back into everything. And then I just like playing Resident Evil 7 like 2-3 years ago, just like reinvigorated. I'm like, oh my god, I love this series so damn much. Seven was such a departure from what all the prior games were. I was like, this is such a great game. And then 8 happened, and 8 was good, but not as good, at least to me. But you know, that's my background on it. But yeah, I would say I probably started and more so got into it in high school.
Sounds good. Joe, what about you? When did you first get into Resident Evil?
Yeah, I have a similar story about my older brother. He was the one that introduced me to RE2. I guess somehow he always got a hold of like all these random demo discs and these random games. Sometimes we get them in the PlayStation Underground, but like I don't know how he got a hold of that demo disc, because he had to have known somebody to have the director's cut to be able to play it. And one day we were at my grandmother's. Some reason we had the PlayStation there, and we throw it on, and we're just both like freaking out at like the intro. And like I think that's one of the first times I remember seeing like what PlayStation graphics looked like at that time, because we got everything like much later than, you know, when they originally came out, or like we rented games and stuff like that for the most part. And I was both blown away and horrified by RE2 in particular. Eventually, I think my uncle had the greatest hits version, which had the director's cut version of RE2 that had the arrange mode and all that stuff in there, and we played a little bit that way. But it wasn't until my stepsister's then boyfriend at that time came over with like an N64 cartridge of RE2. And that was the version that I like really got heavy into and like actually got to like play and kind of grasp the concept a little bit more, because I think that had to have been like a couple of years apart from when I had played that, what I remembered from the demo disc on PlayStation, and when I actually got to like play it for myself instead of watching someone play the game. And that was the one that I like really fell in love with. Resident Evil 2, got into Silent Hill from there. Like I fell in love with that series, and I've played every single one of them, spin-offs and all. Like I've gone through every single Resident Evil game. Gaiden was one of the few that had gotten away from me for a while. I had rented it as a kid, and I remember like, because like I was that kid that like played a lot of games on my Game Boy. Like I had like Turok 3 on my Game Boy before I had it on the N64 sort of thing. So like I was playing like the half-baked versions of a lot of stuff. So I'm very much used to that. So when people are like complaining about graphics nowadays, I'm just like, y'all don't know how good you have now.
You can understand what you're looking at on the screen. You are blessed.
Yeah. But I will say, Gaiden's a little underrated. That and Survivor 1, underrated. They deserve more love for what they tried to do with the technology they had back then. But yeah, I ended up picking that back up earlier this year. I want to either late last year, earlier this year, and finally like went through the whole thing. And like, soft locking aside, with like you being able to like, there was actually limited ammo in that game, like to the point that like you have to kind of like run around zombies in order to like make sure you have enough for the final boss sort of thing. It's got a lot of neat stuff that like other more current indie games are actually taking that method from, of the like first person with the slider shooting semi on rails thing going on. I think Signalis did something like that
game. Yeah, Signalis.
Yes.
I want to say it was Signalis. There was another game that I recall that like puts you in that perspective too, and it escapes me. I haven't gotten around to playing it, but it was I have it on Steam. If I remember it, I'll say it. But yeah, RE2. That's the one.
Yep.
Since it's been mentioned, I gotta say, can we give a little bit of credit to Survivor having some of the most amazing sound clips and voice acting since the original.
Yeah,
Like,
you're not wrong. You're not wrong
My
about
boy Art
that.
Thompson, man.
my mother. Just like, what?
So
It's me. It was me. It was.
Yeah.
I did this. I did.
Oh my
I'm not
god.
Vincent.
Oh Lord.
Oh, man.
My good friend Leon S. Kennedy. Like, have they ever heard a person speak? Like, what? Also, we have to give props to Gaiden for, despite everything about that game being kind of a trash fire, the title menu song is a banger. I will defend that to the end of my days. If you just let it go, it is a certified Game Boy bop.
I do need to play that. Actually.
It goes incredibly hard.
So
Yeah.
So I've been building up a Resident Evil collection. And before I talk about how I got into Resident Evil, I've been building up a Resident Evil collection, and I'm still trying to get everything. So I got the director's cut of Resident Evil 1 for PlayStation,
Hell yeah.
Love it.
PS1 version of Resident Evil 2.
Hell
Nice.
yes.
With the sticker on it still?
Yeah, yes.
Nice. That's a bonus.
N64 version of Resident Evil 2.
Oh, there it is.
Wow.
We love that. That's a good one.
Got a randomizer built
I need
in.
to. I need to play that.
Has a randomizer. I didn't
Like,
know
it's
that.
wild.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
It has a built-in randomizer.
Built-in
Yeah.
randomizer.
Awesome.
First game to ever have that. We
That's
have
really cool.
Code Veronica X for PS2, the greatest hits version. Resident Evil 0 for GameCube.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have
okay.
Resident Evil The Mercenaries 3D for 3DS.
Yes.
Oh
Yes.
yes.
Weird one.
I also have Resident Evil Revelations.
Nice.
Revelations or Revelations?
I have Resident Evil 4 for the Wii.
Yes.
Love that. Let's go.
And I also have Resident Evil The Umbrella Chronicles, also for the Wii.
Ooh, hell yeah.
Very nice.
Oh.
Very nice.
I
Now,
forgot to play that one.
my brother took the 360 games, but we have Resident Evil 5 on 360. I would like to get that again, but on PS3, just to add that to my collection. And for collector's purposes, that's where I'll also get myself Resident Evil 6, because I'm trying to collect the Resident Evil series.
Do it. Get that version.
I have Resident Evil 7 and 8 on Steam, as well as the remakes of 2 and 3. I also have, like, I pretty much have 4 on everything at this point, like the original version of 4. Everything that I can.
It's cool. I can't even tell you how many times I bought 4. It's got to be at least 5
Yeah.
minimum.
I'm gonna say like 4 for me.
But there's one version of 4 I want to get, and that's the original one that was on the GameCube, because it was supposed to be an exclusive. But fun fact, former Resident Evil, like the creator of Resident Evil, Shinji Mikami, when he worked for Capcom at the time, he was adamant on Resident Evil 4 only remaining exclusive to the GameCube. But because the GameCube wasn't selling well, they ported it to PS2, and he had nothing to do with the PS2 port.
Yeah, that's true.
It's-
He just didn't want to do anything with those versions. He just wants to actually make it feel like good for the GameCube. But
Yeah.
of course, Capcom caved and be like, "Nope, let's go with the other versions, please, please, please." And
Because
yeah.
they did not anticipate that the GameCube wasn't going to sell well. Unfortunately,
Trying to find your copy.
yeah.
I've got one. I just have to. I moved a couple months ago, so I'd have to like dig into those boxes.
I have
Yeah.
more copies of Resident Evil everything than any other game. It's gonna take 5 years to find everything.
That's fair. That's fair. Anyway, so in terms of how I got into Resident Evil, I remember first hearing about it like through magazines and people at school. Like I was in middle school at the time. People were talking about it. The first one came out around the time where I was still in the 4th grade. But what I remember is that the first one I wasn't hearing as much people talking about as I was for like when I heard the Resident Evil 2 was coming out. People were hyping it up, and then people hyped up Resident Evil 2 to the point where they said it's one of the best games ever. then it's like I would see commercials for it. I would see commercials for 3, Resident Evil Survivor, Code Veronica, and I would see it every now and then, like whenever I watch TV, and they would have commercials for Resident Evil over the years. And I remember watching, and the first time I played a Resident Evil game, my uncle brought a PS1 just for us to try out before I actually got my own later that year. And Resident Evil was one of those games, like the first one. It was not the DualShock one. It was the original version of the game, like not the director's cut. But it had that very weird Chris Redfield box art with the mansion background, and there was an alternate box art where it was just the head of the zombie. Sega Saturn had that version too, which not many people remember that Resident Evil had a Sega Saturn version, but it did, and it had a multiplayer mode too to go with that.
It had Zombie Wesker in there.
Yeah.
It's one of those games where like every version is different.
And it's probably one of the more expensive versions of Resident Evil at this point, considering the Sega Saturn was a flop here.
Yeah.
So the first time I really got into Resident Evil was much, much later on, around the time that Resident Evil came out on the 3DS, with Resident Evil The Mercenaries 3D and Resident Evil Revelations. And then I didn't really go back to Resident Evil until 2020 during the pandemic, because I was streaming games as part of my Alphabet Challenge, and I got up to the R game, which I had people vote, and it ended up being Resident Evil 4. And the moment I played Resident Evil 4, I fell in love with it. I loved Resident Evil 4 so much. Like, everything about it, like the story, the characters, the setting, the action, everything about, because it was a departure from like what Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3 had to offer, because they were going on a different direction. And I just could not stop playing 4, and I loved it. Although there was a time where the game was almost ruined for me, because here's a story. So in the second stream for the game, when I was going through the game, and I believe that was where I fought El Gigante, and I think I might have fought those 2 sisters.
Chainsaw ones, right?
The chainsaw sisters.
The Bella sisters.
The Chainsaw Sisters,
Yeah, the Bella sisters, yeah. So the game itself was not an issue during that time, but the problem was I didn't really have that much of a rule. I didn't have much of a rule on backseat gaming. And Resident Evil 4 is infamous for backseat gamers popping up to streams. And the thing is, this person would railroad backseat and everything. And when I told him to let me figure things out on my own, and he was like, please read. And then he would be like, you read and you die, you suffer the consequences of your death. And I was just annoyed that stream. That kind of ruined it for me. And I was like in my mind that, all right, so the next day I was like, if that person comes back to my streams, I'm going to tell them off. No backseating or else you're going to get banned. And from there on out, like, I had to initiate a no backseating rule after that. Like, I was kind of lax on it because I didn't see it as much of an issue. But after that, never again. Never again. Like, because he that guy ruined backseat gaming for me, so much so that I so much so that I had to input that rule, enforce it, and he never showed up ever again after that. He never showed up again. Like, and the rest of the playthrough for Resident Evil 4 was smooth sailing. It was great. I just loved it, and I was sad that it was over. But I remember after I finished it, I'm like, you know what? Let's play some Mercenaries. And that's what I did.
Oh man, Mercenaries is so damn good.
Nice.
Yeah, Resident Evil 4 Mercenaries was peak. Then I played Resident Evil 5, and I did it in co-op with TheEpicMan, and I also did Resident Evil 6 co-op with TheEpicMan, and
Yes.
I played Resident Evil 1. I did old versus new, Resident Evil 1 original versus remake, and Remake is obviously better, but the version I played of Resident Evil 1 had the infamously awful soundtrack where it has the basement theme.
What do you mean?
Like the bass, it had the basement theme with like the fucking farting trombones, trumpets, and all that. Because I remember that for whatever reason in the Greatest Hits version, they changed it up. Like they changed.
They hired a new composer who was gonna be like the next Beethoven, and he was pretending to be deaf, and it became a whole complicated, weird thing. He lied on his resume and got the job.
He also he I know.
Oh my god.
He also did the soundtrack for Dino Crisis, and I think he did only Musha. He didn't do Dino Crisis, but it sounded like it. But he did only Musha Warlords, which wasn't that like that soundtrack wasn't that bad. Like I played that game too.
It has music. I replayed it actually the other week. It has music, but honestly, I couldn't tell you any of the tracks. It's all just like faded background stuff.
Yeah, it's more like ambient music for
He's
sure.
had a couple goes at it at that point. He had time to kind of get a little better, I guess.
Yeah, true. We are talking PSP. You know, stop pretending to be deaf, and it like it's like all right, I can hear them making monsters.
Because Onimusha was basically like Resident Evil with swords, and Dino Crisis was Resident Evil with dinosaurs. But there's been a total.
I almost had Resident Evil with guns, and it's like, wait, no.
Not counting the remake, there were like 3 different versions of the original Resident Evil 4. One of them never saw the light of day. One of them we got, and the other one we did get, but in the form of a different game, and that game being Devil May Cry, because the gameplay style was way too different. So they decided to reject that as Resident Evil, but they loved the gameplay style. They wanted to keep it, so they changed up they took the zombies out, replaced them with devils and demons, and changed up the protagonist to Dante. And then changed the story and everything. It became Devil May Cry. So the original Resident Evil 4 became Devil May Cry. Then they had a version of it where it was more in line with the first 3 games, but you still had Leon wearing that jacket, that famous jacket that he wears. And
they nailed that style down quick.
And then the game was supposed to come out earlier than it did, but then like they delayed it and they changed directions, and then we got the Resident Evil 4 that we got back in 2005, and it ended up like being a fantastic game. So
we also got Haunting Ground out of that too.
We did.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
So because I remember being shocked when I was reading video game magazines. I was reading Nintendo Power, Game Pro, and all that. Where they talked about that Resident Evil was going to the Nintendo platforms, because I did not expect that, because I was expecting these games to be on PS2. I was not expecting them to be on GameCube, and then just seeing like, oh, we're gonna get Resident Evil 0, we're gonna get Resident Evil Remake, and then Resident Evil 4. Like all 3 of them were announced, and then we got the remake first. Very good remake, much better than the original. But Resident Evil 0, I personally didn't really like that game. But
Zero gets no love.
Yeah,
it's a really rough first experience.
I'm a Zero defender.
Yeah.
It didn't get really that much for attraction for people to want to play it, and I can understand that. And it was like a predecessor to what Resident Evil 5 became with the co-op aspect of it, where it plays better for that game to be co-op than Resident Evil 0. But I can see where if they do, or when they ever do a Resident Evil 0 remake, they could pretty much do a better job with it now if they ever up for the job for it.
we'll see.
Yeah, I would go for that.
Yeah. Also, but it wasn't until like when I got Resident Evil Revelations, I spent so much time on that game, like, and I loved it. It was the first Resident Evil game I've beaten. Then I've beaten like every other game afterwards that I was able to play. Most recently, I've did 7 and 8 back to back, and I loved both of them. I think I might go ahead.
We would all be lucky to have an Ethan Winters in our lives. I'm just gonna put that out there. Like, if we could all have an Ethan Winters, like the world would be a better place.
Everyone needs Ethan Winters.
I wish we had more people like him, but I will say I think I kind of like 7 a little bit more, but I will say for 8 I like the gameplay more, but 7 I like the story more. And with 8 I also played it in third person because they had the option.
Oh, how'd you like that? Because I tried it for like 10 minutes. I'm like, I can't do this. They don't.
Never tried it.
I know it was after they made it after the fact or whatever. So like I know it wasn't like built in from the ground up. So like I tried, it wasn't for me.
Yeah, you have to buy the molded.
It's definitely a weird. It's definitely a weird take on when you have third person for a game that's like first person built in. You know.
I like that it actually gave me Resident Evil, the original Resident Evil 4 vibes, because the whole game kind of felt like it wanted to be another Resident Evil 4. Like we even got the merchant in that one, like because we had the merchant in 4. What are you buying?
Yeah, and we have the Duke.
The Duke. And I will say this, like, without spoiling anything for anybody who hasn't played it, like, especially in chat, for anyone who hasn't played Village yet, I will say the Duke's a real one. That's all I'll say.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, that's how I got into Resident Evil. Like, I got into it late, but better late than never, I guess.
Hey man, they're still cranking the series out. You're never late.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the golden goose. They're not going to stop anytime soon.
Yeah.
There is still one of Capcom's finest franchises to go with.
Exactly. So the next,
for those who, sorry.
Oh, what were you gonna say?
Oh no, I was gonna just say for those who like and prefer the third person mode, I got to play RE9 yesterday, and it's a very they did a really good job with that third person mode. Like seeing it is one thing, actually having your controller and going through it, yeah, it's nice, and it's also different from RE2 remake and RE3 remake and RE4 remake. How it feels.
I cannot wait.
Yeah,
I'm probably gonna do third person.
Different feel
for that. I prefer third person, so. It's probably what I'm gonna go for.
I would probably go with first person for me because I like third person for the Resident Evil games, but with Resident Evil 9, it just for some reason makes me feel like I want to be immersed more with how in the game and the world itself, because I do like Resident Evil 7 and 8 for being first person, just because you just feel immersed with the characters you're playing as and seeing how everyone reacts to you and the monsters reacts to you while you're in face first on them, and it just makes you feel like, whoa, I feel like, oh my god, I'm very much in danger, holy shit. And like it's always good to have that feeling, but it's never wrong to go in between with first or third, because really both of them are good to do, and I'm probably going to go in between with first or third person as I go into Resident Evil 9. But you know, like I probably want to see both. I want to see both of them fully, like playing multiple playthroughs on first and third person.
Yeah,
I think I'll be happy either way.
Yep.
I heard something very interesting about it, that they're what they do, that they, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they made it so like if you're in first person, like they have the game tweaked to like to play your speed. I forget exactly how to word it. Yeah, okay, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I like that. I think that's really cool that they did that. So I'm really stoked to see what the differences are.
Yeah,
same here. I want to see the differences.
Yeah. So next up, I'll start with Bookslap on this one. Do you prefer Resident Evil to be scary, or do you prefer it to be filled with action, like how 4, 5, and 6 were mostly action?
If those are the options, I'm gonna say I prefer it to be scary, but I don't think being scary precludes there from being action sequences. So like, I would say that like 2 and 3 remakes have a lot of action, but are still scary. because of the environmental storytelling, the build-up, how strong the zombies are. I mean, those 2 remake zombies are the strongest zombies in any game. Like, you gotta fight them. Even a single zombie can be a big challenge, depending on like where it is. Like,
Yes.
I don't know if anybody here has ever played like a 2 remake challenge mod or something like that. There's in a lot of them, they just add more zombies, just more of the basic enemies, and it makes things way harder to deal with because they're tough, and that is like instills a kind of fear that I think balances the whole like spook versus action thing. So I'm on the side of spooky, but I think you can have both.
Yep. All right. Shiny, what about you?
I think I think I'm about the spooky. I like the spookiness of it. I think that's my bag.
All right. Joe?
Can I throw in option C? I love the lore.
Yeah.
For as easy as some of it is, like it's the lore for me, man. Like, yeah, the horror thing definitely like is where I'm at with it, and like the puzzle solving aspects. But like the lore in that series, I'm always just like going through the nitty gritty of everything, and it's like I already have my my crackpot tinfoil hat theories of what they're planning to do in 9. So I won't say anything here, but like, yeah, I have too many different things going on in my head with what they could be doing with 9.
Same here, honestly. I honestly have some ideas myself too.
Yeah. All right. Epic?
It's honestly tough for me because, like I said, I mean, I mostly started with 4, and 4 gameplay being just action and just thriller and all that just feels like I like how Resident Evil 4 was just a B movie horror type of thing where it is horror, but it is just trying to make it feel like it is a cheap horror type of movie where it's like you're gonna see um with these action stars heroes trying to save the president's daughter and get the hell out of there. It just makes it feel like this is goofy. I like this kind of goofy stuff with Resident Evil when they do that stuff. But then when Resident Evil 6 became a thing and then it was trying to be too serious and barely has any way of having fun with it, and it does drag it a little bit down for me when I just want to have fun with it, but also be scared. Because the thing is, I was never really getting scared much with Resident Evil, even with the first 3 games back then.
Yeah.
So, but even then, Resident Evil 7 did really get me at times when I first play it, because it is a first person game and it is just going through a tight close house and you have no idea what's going to happen, especially when Jack is all around you and you have no idea when he's going to come at you to attack. And I like that, and it always makes me surprised about how much they could try to scare you when they try to make you least expect of some things that are about to happen, because they want you to feel safe for now, and then they just hit you with the not sort of jump scare, but they just wanted to give you a sort of tension feeling where something is going to happen, but not really. But then it just tries to keep slowing up or going down, just trying to play with you until the moment hits you and be like, oh my god, this is very scary. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Oh my god. So like it's really hard for me to say which one I like the most with horror or not. I mean, you can do good with both. And I guess I would say maybe being interested in having the games to be scary would be my way of having the games to be what they are supposed to be anyway. So I guess I would say I like the scary aspect of Resident Evil more a little bit,
Okay.
but I just like both of them because both of them they have good ways of trying to elevate the players to be scared. Like even with Resident Evil 4 having having just always action and all that stuff. But the game is still survival horror because you're gonna be at the moment where you're gonna be at the corner with less ammo if you are not careful when the enemies are about to swung at you when you are just at your worst and you just have no idea what to do to get the hell out of there. So you just try to wing it and get the hell out of there. So
Yeah.
like survival horror or horror, they all have their ups and downs, but I guess I would say I like the horror stuff a little bit more than I guess actiony.
Okay. Like for me, I tend to prefer like a good scare when it comes to games like these. I don't mind the action at all. Like in fact, you wouldn't really have Resident Evil without action, but I feel like to me, I actually love the essence of being spooked and scared, even for just every little thing. Like even if you just open up a closet and then all you see are a bunch of rats randomly popping up out of nowhere. For the record, I hate rats and mice, but also the fact that like you just go wherever you want, and then all of a sudden like you just happen to see like random demonized dog or a random like a zombie, not even just zombies, because obviously you're gonna see zombies, but then you also see like men created out of mold, or like these characters, like these demons that just pop up out of nowhere, and you're like, or even a fucking giant spider, which apologies to anybody who are afraid of spiders, but like I knew people like whenever I would stream like Resident Evil games, and the moment a giant spider comes out, they instantly just bounce because like they just can't take it. I feel and I feel so
Yeah, that's understandable.
and I feel so bad for them because like it's a legit thing.
A black tiger is so friendly. She's gonna open that door for you.
Like the thing is, I'm not even afraid of giant spiders. Now, if it was a giant rat or worse,
the Dark Souls problem.
but I was about to say a giant snake, but there actually is a giant snake in Resident Evil.
A giant snake. That was an annoying hell fight, but that's a good one.
That was not a nice boss at all. Like that was a bad boss. Like I hate snakes more than I hate mice and rats. So like that was unsettling. But I do love a good scare. So I like the scariness more. But that's just me. Oh, pack of crows. Yeah, especially when they're attacking you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so
poor Forrest.
Yeah. So the next one I'm gonna ask Shiny, what are some of your favorite Resident Evil games of all time? Up to 3 at most. Like up to 3 games at most.
So I think Resident Evil 4 for me. I think that's peak for me as the series. I have one friend that's he's in my, I know him from another stream, and he's in my chat all the time, and he hates 4 with a passion. And I think it's hilarious how much he hates the game. But for me, I think 4 is great. I think it's probably got to be. I think it's probably Resident Evil 4, and then I would say Resident Evil 2 remake. I love 2. Going back and playing it, but Resident Evil 2 remake was just like, they did such a fucking good job with it, man. It was really good. 3 not so much, but 2 was really good. And then I think 7, just having it being in first person and just all that stuff. Just there were so many good scares in 7. Like I think probably like the most standout for me is really early is that when you are in the garage and the cop comes in and he's like, hey, you better open that door. Like that, I remember I was like, what the hell? This is crazy. I was like, this is a really cool game. So yeah, I'd say probably 4, 2 remake, and then 7 are my top 3.
All right. What about you, Joe?
For me, it's 2 classic, Code Veronica, and 7. For probably if I had to choose one from like that trilogy of eventual trilogy of games, like yeah, I think in that order. I love both 3s honestly. So like but I can't put them up there because like those were like pivotal moments for sure. 2 is what got me into survival horror. Like and it has my favorite character. Like Claire Redfield's like my homegirl. Like I love that character. I love that she's the only one that's like other than Rebecca Chambers that's like gotten out of like the crazy action BSAA and is like trying to do like the whole TerraSave thing of like trying to not use weapons, trying to find alternate ways to fight bioterrorism and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Code Veronica, like just that whole setup and like finding out like what you find out eventually about a certain character who you thought was like never coming back being there and stuff like that. I won't spoil it for anybody trying to play it, right? And then 7 was just like, man, I'm a 6 apologist. Like I love all these damn games. Like
6 is not a bad game.
with
It's just
friends.
really bad at teaching you how to play it.
It did too much, right? And it was like
I can do that.
It's the guy that worked on the Outbreak series, so like you got a lot of that from within there. But yeah, it was one of those things where it tried to do too much, right? But when you treat it as like 3 separate games and you don't play them all back to back to back, like the crackhead that I am, a little bit more.
Well, 4 separate games.
Oh my god, yeah.
Can't forget.
But yeah, there's something about 7 that reminds me so much of Remake 1, and that and the callbacks to even like Sweet Home in there is just like that team did their homework when it came to like, okay, yes, we're gonna continue the lore and we are gonna give you a new character. And we're going to make it seem like it's a reboot, but in reality, we are like continuing from where we left off with this entire series. You're just seeing it from a completely different lens. And we're going back to like, okay, the dude that can only really defend himself for so long, but somehow lose his leg in the process and still be okay by, you know, just adding some alcohol and, you know, see me in the morning sort of thing.
Which is a really
Pour some
crazy thing
juice
to
on
see
it.
Bless
from that
him.
game.
Yeah.
Just bless him.
You know, so and
Just pour the Mountain Dew on it.
Yeah.
exactly. You'll be all right.
Foreshadowing.
But I love the explanation that they gave later on down the road for that. So that was nice
it was meant to foreshadow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was it's like, yeah, duh, of course. Like when
Well, your leg got cut off. Don't worry about it. We'll talk about it later. Don't worry about it. It's Resident
Look, a lot of
Evil.
people
fine.
don't even know you can get your leg cut off in that game.
No one
Yeah.
did. No
It's
one
optional.
knew. No one knew
Yeah.
about the thing where you had to like get hurt by Jack until the last second you're about to die, and then he'd be like, "Okay, your leg's coming off," and then it'd be like, "Okay, wait, what?" And then he'd be like, "Get the medicine, haha!" And then everyone was like, "What?" What? Because no, it is a weird, hidden. It is sort of a hidden, thing
Totally hidden interaction. Yeah.
where you never knew. No, not many people knew. And I was looking at YouTube on people's reactions, and I was like, "Oh my god, they didn't know about this!" And I was like so smiling because it was so funny to see how we are trying to make it so serious, yet we see this goofy shit with the legs cutting off and then some come back to your leg.
I have a story about that. Y'all remember that Resident Evil Ambassador program they did where like you do things and like you link it to a login and you collect points for like
Yeah,
I remember hearing about that.
I
I knew the
I never did
Capcom
it,
thing,
but
but I didn't know
too, I
one
think.
for that specifically.
in 2016. Wait, 7 came out in 17, right?
Yeah, 17.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So somewhere along the line of I want to say 2016, then the fall, they were doing the promotion stuff and they were doing like the demos and they were getting ready to announce the Twilight demo, the second one, where you get the Marguerite video.
Oh, they did. I remember. That's right. They did weird demos for that.
Yeah, they did cool demos. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had entered a contest and I didn't think anything of it. I was just like, okay, I'm going to enter it in and blah, blah, blah. And I'm never going to hear back from it, right? I got an email that I thought was spam email. and I was one of the people that wanted to go out to California to
Hell yeah.
to
That's
celebrate
awesome.
that.
Look at you.
So
Good stuff.
It's
good
so
one.
funny. I know a few people that I'm still friends with from that whole thing, which is pretty cool. I did that thing that you had mentioned, Epic Man, about the leg thing there. That's how I always knew about it, because I accidentally like got knocked by Jack, got my freaking foot taken off, and had to walk over, had to crawl over and grab my leg from it.
Oh my god! So
You know,
they put that in there, huh?
If you don't, because he like sits there and he sits the medicine down there. If you don't, there's actually a hidden timer and you'll just bleed out.
Yeah,
You actually
I would
can
imagine
die in that
would've
scene.
been the
Yeah,
case.
if you just don't do anything, you'll die.
Yeah, I would have thought that would have been the case if
crazy.
you never gone into the medicine.
Yeah.
And if I Jack says, I got all day, kid. He just sits here. Come on.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I'll just let you bleed out and it ends. Yeah.
It's just fun to think about.
Yeah. So Joe, those are your favorite games of the series?
yeah. 2 Code Veronica 7.
Okay. Epic Man, what about you?
For me, it's gonna be sort of the same for me in a way, with Resident Evil 4 original Wii edition would be my favorite of all time. I mean, that game is just a classic to go back to, no matter how many times I've beaten it. Like going back to playing it on professional, wearing the different costume, playing around with the silly weapons like the Chicago typewriter that you get after beating the game, just so funny. And even having the Ashley costume where she can have a suit of armor and she can never be picked up and you don't have to worry about her getting dragged out of the game and game over. So it's a hoot to see how much stuff with this game, just having some really neat extra content to play with. It's such a blast, honestly. And like but like the Resident Evil remake, for me, like I like that one too, yet the game itself is a lot of fun in the gameplay aspect. I like the way how they make the game feel more fluid and just hitting the right notes when you hit the enemy, and the sound designs of the guns and the monsters are just so good on that. It's so good to play Resident Evil remake for that. But even then, I just can't help but love for original a little bit more, because it's just really good. Seriously, like you can never go wrong with that game to go back to, really.
Yeah.
And it's just so fun. And then my second game, I would have to say it would probably be Resident Evil 7. Like I love seeing how that game was trying to get back to what the series is supposed to be about, for being survival horror, and it did a good job on just trying to scare you, giving you less resources, or at least enough resources to get through. The characters, Ethan being just a straight up guy that just comes out of nowhere, just be like, okay, what's going on here? I need to find my wife, and just going through all the shit that he has to go through. That just you have to feel sorry for him for having his arm cut off and his leg cut off. Like he's been taking all the beatings, and he got even the worst beatings in Resident Evil Village, because everyone wants to straight up kill him. Yet he just still keeps going because he wants to rescue his daughter. But 7 just feels like the way how it was trying to refresh itself, for trying to say this is what Resident Evil is all about. We are survival horror at our finest, and they showed it with every step of the way, with how the characters and the monsters and the bosses and everyone in this game is just so good, so scary, and just straight up freaking fun and scary. I just love everything about Resident Evil 7. It's so good. And I especially love playing Resident Evil 7 in Madhouse difficulty, where everything is different.
Madhouse is the way to play.
it's the same game, but it's just the items are different locations. Bosses are harder, obviously, and I was if I remember correctly, even Jack would still be around the house even after everything what happened. Just really feels like,
after
man,
the first boss fight, yeah, he's still walking around. Yeah.
he still walks around, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
okay, what the fuck? You are just want to make this more stressful now, huh?
That's
and
crazy.
I love that about that. Just you trying to make the game feel different enough just to make you say, okay, this game is just trying to be cheating, right? Because why the fuck would you do this to me when I know everything in my mind where the items are, and then you just did this shit? I'm like, okay, now you're just fucking with me. Yeah,
The
you're
toughest-
fucking with me.
The toughest boss fight is the first one.
Oh,
In the
yeah.
Yeah,
intro.
no.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I had a tough time playing with that freaking boss. It was so freaking hard for some
Is
reason. I'm
easily
like,
the hardest. Yeah.
what the fuck? I was trying to defend myself, trying to get around him, and just it was just getting crazy. I'm like, oh my god, I need to take a minute. So it was freaking crazy. But yeah, like even the extra stuff with the DLCs, I enjoyed them too, with the banned footage DLCs, the extra weird mini games like
I love
Jack's-
those mini games.
like Jack's birthday party, which is really
The
freaking weird.
DLC is immaculate. It's
Yeah.
masterclass. In
I would say I would agree.
I would say that. But I even like the one where you had to play like when you're playing as the camera guy, what's his name? Clancy?
Yeah.
He gets like I feel sorry for him too, because he
Clancy deserved better.
he deserves better. Like he didn't need to
better.
he didn't need to go out like that. But to see him, like, he had to go through all the stuff, like with him being in the bedroom, and you had to do that puzzle where you had to try and get yourself out of there from Marguerite, or even playing that stupid card that game where you had to
I love that game, man. That could be its own game. I would love them to make it like a
Its own game, too.
$15, $20
Like,
game. I'm in. Do it. Fully build it.
like I
21
was
was
that
actually
game
great.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even I like that one other DLC where it's like you are in the basement, you have to survive for like till 6 a.m. While Jack is around.
Oh,
Like,
that's a
that
hard one. Yeah.
That was really good too. I
I
played that a
I
lot.
thought it was super fun. It totally redeems the machine gun, which is worthless in the story mode, but actually
Yeah.
really good in that mode.
It didn't
Yeah.
do for me
Totally
with that
redeems
machine
it.
gun. It was just like, it's a weird gun. It's like, it's fine, but it's like I'd rather go with the handgun or the shotgun. But no, it's like it's better in the DLC, honestly, because they did a good job on that. But like, and the one mode that I know people had a tough time with was Ethan Must Die mode. Like,
Yeah.
holy shit!
I mean, that's how it's built. Like that, it's literally the name of the game.
it is the name, but you gotta not die somehow, right? Because there's got to be an end, which there is. It's
There
just
is.
that.
It's Marguerite.
But I just hate the fucking boxes that explodes on you if you don't know the difference between each of the boxes. There's legit freaking explosive boxes in the game where if you don't see the difference or you just try to get by, you're gonna die immediately because Ethan has little health, and if one hits or two hits by a monster, that's it. You're dead. You have to start the whole goddamn DLC over, and
You can actually-
so frustrating.
You can actually get up to the boxes and listen, and you can hear them ticking too if they're bombs. So you can see it or you can hear them. Which
I
think
heard
is a
that
really
there's
nice
also
touch.
a way you can see the tapes too, like the tape also can tell.
the tape pattern. Yeah, the explosive ones have a particular tape pattern. You can tell I've played the DLC for 7 too much. Guess what my answer is going to be for favorite game?
I can
Yes.
yeah. but yeah, like the overall package of Resident Evil 7 was really amazing. I would say it is my second favorite, and the third favorite, honestly, for me, and I don't think we didn't talk too much about, was Resident Evil 5 was my third favorite.
Ah.
It's the game that I know. My aunt, she plays the hell out of 5. She loves the characters, and I love the characters too. The story and the gameplay too. Mercenaries mode in Resident Evil 5, I would say, is one of my favorite modes in that version particularly. I just think that one has, I would say, a good amount of characters and weapons to play with because it has DLC as well, where you can have different costumes and they have different loadouts and weapons and that too. And it's just so much fun to play with Sheva's tribal outfit, where she has the crossbow and she can instant kill everyone, or at least most, if all enemies like legit die in one hit with the bow and arrow. Just like, oh, okay, I'm just a one hit killing machine. Like, whoa, okay. It's just like it's just so bonkers. Like it's a game that I like the most for its mercenaries mode, and even the story. Like it is not too crazy, but at the same time, with how Wesker became the ultimate villain, just to be this comic book villain that Chris said in the game, where it's like, oh, you got this from your comic book villains? I'm like, okay, whoa, because he was legit acting this crazy, trying to say we're gonna kill everyone with Ouroboros, we're gonna kill everyone with Ouroboros, and I'm like, oh my god, this guy is just straight up crazy. Like, are we seriously playing Resident Evil right now?
We're gonna cleanse the world, a new order. I'm like, okay, man.
I'm losing my mind.
Like, am I playing Resident Evil or am I playing a freaking Marvel superhero movie or something?
I mean, by the end of the game, you are basically in that.
Chris is basically Captain America, and you know why? Because of the fucking boulder meme, the boulder meme that everyone goes laughing at. It's like, how the fuck is this guy?
Look, that boulder had it coming. All right,
yeah.
Sure did.
Like, this guy must have gone to the gym 20 times a day or something, because he punched that boulder like it was nothing. Like, he fucking kills it.
Well, let's
like a body shot too.
Well, let's be real. Like that's must be the reason why Chris was in the Marvel vs. Capcom games from 3 and onwards, because like he's that strong. Like he's just that strong.
Oh no, yeah, he is very strong. I mean, you see him like that, and he can still be strong even years later, because he's just freaking a freaking boulder man, like all the time, because he's fucking works out all the time. But I will say, I wish the series would give Sheva another chance, because I feel like they only gave her one role in the game and that's it, and we never seen her again. And that's honestly, I feel like that's a bit of a letdown, because I think she's a really good character, and I wish we could see more of her outside of Resident Evil 5, really, because we really never see her again. We never hear a mention of her. We never know what happened with her. Just literally that's it. My job is done. I'm out. And I'm like, oh man, that's honestly a little bit sad, because I actually like her character. She's actually one of my favorite Resident Evil characters in the whole franchise.
Ooh.
So it would have been nice to see her again. So, yeah. Like,
yeah, and I feel like they treat her a little weird in the game too. Like, there's a couple cutscenes where Josh is like, "Oh, she became like the little sister of the team," and it's like, that's a little, I don't know, that feels a little weird to say about like a woman in the whole context. Like, maybe a little bit sexist there to sprinkle in amongst the racism and fun.
I mean, I know what he's saying. I mean, I get what he was saying, but I see what you mean by that, because
it's like
yeah,
maybe we could treat her better than that, but
oh yeah, of course,
they could.
Of course, they would have like treated. But I get what he's saying. But I know what you mean. I get that. But still, like, she would have been a really cool recurring character to come back. At least bring her back for like mercenaries mode or something for other games. That would have been cool too.
That's a good
idea.
Like having Rebecca Chambers in Resident Evil 5 mercenaries mode is weird, but at the same time, fuck it, why not? Just bring her in. She was not in the games. I mean, she's not in Resident Evil 5, but why not? Fucking bring characters that were never in the game at all, and then just have them as a additional character to just have fun with, Like, do that for the next Resident Evil game for mercenaries mode. Just bringing characters that you never thought they would come here, because fuck it, why not?
Yep.
So, yeah, those are my top 3 games: Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil 7, and 5. And I will say my honorable mention. I will say Resident Evil. I would say Resident Evil 6 would probably be there, and that's only because I know that the story is stupid and it's terrible, and the campaign is just straight up freaking.
Yeah, no, keep piling it on. You are exactly right. Keep going.
The campaign is a slog to go through. Like, each chapter is like an hour or two to go through, but I'm not gonna lie, but I actually like the gameplay and the controls in that game. Maybe a little bit better because I feel like the way how you slide and just punch the monsters and everything were just so fun and just feels so cool to do a combo with punching and then shooting and then diving backwards and then doing all that stuff. It just feels so much fun, especially when you are playing mercenaries mode. It is so much fun to do like that. So
Yeah.
it is so good. So yeah, like it is just so fun. And yeah, if you play Resident Evil 6, don't worry about the story. It's not gonna matter because it really feels like it doesn't matter at the moment at the time. And just play for the gameplay and fun, like with Mercenaries mode, really, and play with friends too. If you guys can actually stomach through the campaign.
The
It's
story of 6 can be reduced to an incel gets mad that a woman rejects him, and so he destroys.
No, you're not wrong.
you're not wrong.
It really does. It really is. Like,
It's still a better. It's still a better story. It's still a better game than Resident Evil 0.
What? I mean, other than the whole fact that like Rebecca's character does not make sense going into RE1 remake. It's a little
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
But-
I will say that even if you don't like to play Resident Evil 0, you could play the what's it called? Was it Umbrella Chronicles that has the story of Resident Evil 0, but in
Yes.
rail in the rail type of gameplay? You know, you can do it like that if you don't want to play the actual Resident Evil 0 for the gameplay. Just do it in that game anyway on the Wii.
Yeah.
It's so funny because like with 6, they basically did what RE9 is trying to do and like close the RE2 Raccoon City chapter all over again.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Like
People are not.
that's true.
They're
That's
ignoring
true.
6. And I was like,
Yeah.
we're doing this again. I hope you all know that.
Wait, don't give me hope for more Sherry. I love Sherry. She's probably my favorite characters. Don't give me
Yeah.
hope. Don't do that.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
So, Bookslap. What's your top 3?
I mean, we've already covered all 3 of them, so I'll make this quick. But in no particular order, 7, it's scary, it's claustrophobic, the DLC is amazing, every part of the DLC is great. I think the only ones at this point that we haven't mentioned were End of Zoe, where you get like that nice little tie-up with a fun boxing game.
I love that.
It was so fun. It was so
very fun.
And then trying to do it on its like hard mode was so hard. It was incredibly difficult. Everybody talks about how Joe Baker is like punching the monsters, but don't forget that in that exact same game, Chris Redfield is also punching monsters in the face, and he just one-shots them. You can do your little counterattacks, and he just pops their head. He's like, get out of my way. Like, everybody talks about Joe. Yeah, everybody talks about Joe Baker doing his little combos. No, Chris is one and done, and he keeps going. And so, respect to the professional. He didn't look himself. He got some plastic surgery for that game, but it was still. Yeah, he shows up at the end, and it's like, who is this? I'm Chris Redfield.
And I'm like,
Are you?
Yeah, right?
Really? Yeah, so
ARIS?
7, it's amazing. Also, if you ever get the chance to play 7 in VR, it is the scariest game ever. It doesn't matter if you've already played it. It is terrifying.
I just wish they would have put that out on Steam VR. They just had to lock that on PS4. And then nothing ever happens. They never thought about re-releasing it in the future.
Yeah,
It's so
the
dumb.
problem of VR platforms. Everything is all sliced and diced into different. I don't know, whole different episode there. 2 remake. I was said before. I was just playing it today. I could play 2 remake again and again and again and again. It just meets everything that I want. It would be good. It would have been nice if the A and B stories actually like fit together, in the OG. But it's okay. I can forgive it. It's fine. I play the game and I'm happy. But also 1 remake. I really love 1. I think 1 remake is honestly the best way to experience it at this point. Like, you miss out on all the delicious cheese, but there's still some cheese, and it's just everything they did makes it a better experience. It's like one of those times where you can tell that you're you're getting more of what they originally envisioned. And it was only what, like 6 years later? We're not talking like a decade or two later. It was like 6 years, and it's this wild jump. I apologize that my little chihuahua is barking at me right now. I don't know if you can hear her. She's causing a ruckus. She has opinions too on this, I guess.
She's the fifth guest. Get her on. What's her favorite? Get her on.
Let's do it. Yes.
She's wagging the tail. Would you stop? So those would be my three. Just get over here. Jeez.
If I could,
I like one.
On stream. She's
the
like,
dogs.
Father.
Talk about Resident Evil 1 on the DS.
Yes.
I never got to play Deadly Silence, but I do appreciate
Yes.
that it gives the knife a purpose.
It's still a weird time to think like, man, they put that game on the DS and nobody talks about it afterwards. I'm like, wait,
Yeah.
what's the DS one? No one talks about that? Isn't that fine?
They had the wild card games that came out of the 3DS.
Exactly.
It was a
Like,
lawless time.
it was.
I don't want to get too sidetracked, but Metal Gear Solid 3 on the 3DS was like, why is this even here? Oh, this is actually pretty cool. All right, sure, why not? Okay.
Use the 3DS camera to take pictures of the
MGS3.
camos.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
MGS3
I loved
could be
it.
on
It was
anything,
great.
and it would be fine.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So those are your favorites, Bookslap?
Yeah, those would be my three. In no particular order.
Yep. So for me, here are my three. So number 3 would be Resident Evil Village, because I love the setting of the village, but I do think that the gameplay was fantastic. I had fun playing the game. It wasn't really like with the exception of the final boss, most of the bosses didn't really feel as challenging as the ones in Resident Evil 7, but I still had fun with them. I still had a good time with them. Like if anything, like I felt like this one kind of felt more like it wanted to be like another Resident Evil 4 in a sense, where just mostly for vibes. That's what I was getting at mainly for it. I liked it a lot, but I enjoyed Resident Evil 7 more. That would be number 2 for me. With the story, like one of the best stories that Resident Evil has to offer. I love the characters. Granted, I will say this. I fucking hate Marguerite so much. Marguerite, like, it's like if you ever had a family and like you somehow turn all of them back to normal, Marguerite would be the only one that does not come back, because she's probably that bitch in real life. She probably is. And I do like the gameplay a lot. The first person immersion and just seeing everything happen in real time, that gives you the whole you're in the whole world kind of vibe. Granted, I need to play the game in VR to see how it actually feels, but I just think that between 7 and 8, I do think that 7 was actually better. But then number 1 for me is the original version of Resident Evil 4. Love the game. I already talked about it a little bit earlier on, but I loved it so much. And it's like just there's so many ways to play it. Like I played it on Switch, but you can't go wrong with this version of the game, the Wii version. You can't go wrong with it. But yeah, those are my 3. Now I'll start with Joe for this one. What do you want to see in Resident Evil Requiem and also the rest of the series moving forward?
Oh man, I want them to continue this whole trend of like new characters, but with like the implementation of the older cast.
Yeah.
But mainly because like, yeah, it's getting to the point where like, I mean, 6 was a result of everyone's already tired of dealing with the nonsense of all this bioterrorism, right? They're the class action heroes at this point. So it's like we needed that reset. I think had you gone any further with what you did with Ethan and Rose for that matter, it's like, okay, you leave room for Rose to have a game in the future with like her powers and everything like that. And then that's, you know, you're like, now you're probably 10, 12 years off at that point from when that can take place. But you have people like Grace that can kind of like build up the new front of like characters that we can see down the road with like mainline games, while still having the original cast kind of be now like the old guard of like, okay, yeah, we've dealt with this for a while. We can kind of like help you get into that situation and getting better. And it kind of seems like that's what Grace's situation is going to be, of like, all right, she's going to start off really scared, but I bet you by the end of that game, she's kind of have a bit of the trauma, but a bit of like, you know, her being able to stand her own ground a little bit, and seeing how that goes in like a future title.
Yeah, that's fair. Epic Man, what do you want to see in Requiem and all future titles moving forward?
I want to see what they would do with Rose in the future, because it feels like they would have probably do more with her character after I played Shadow of Rose in the Resident Evil Village DLC, and it feels like it would have, like, it's like a weird thing to see, because like I wonder if they would even make her into her own character in the next thing, because that's what I would have thought. That's what they were gonna do in Resident Evil 9 Requiem, where they're gonna make her as the main character, because it felt like that's with this whole trilogy with Ethan and his family, how they are going through all the horror, and just and now seeing with Ashcroft. Now we're doing with the Ashcroft family this time with 9, and really it's I like seeing with new characters in dealing with their trying to deal with what their old characters do with what was the name? What was the girl's name? The main character for Resident Evil 9?
Grace.
Grace trying to now do what her mom does, trying to figure out her own mystery and trying to solve the case and all that. And just because, you know, Alyssa was the one of the characters in Outbreak, and now Grace is going to be the main character. And I was not expecting that. And honestly, that's completely fine, because I love Leon, I love Claire, I love Chris. I love all the characters that we've been dealing with throughout the whole franchise, but it's always good to see with new characters having to deal with their own ways of surviving the horrors. Like with when we deal with Ethan and his way of trying to survive the horror, it is very refreshing. It's very new, and it is cool to see what they would do in a situation like this. And now that we're doing it again with Grace, and really, I really don't mind this. I'm just curious to know if we're going to see any other recurring characters are going to come back, if they even going to show up in Resident Evil Requiem. And people have been speculating that we're going to probably see Leon in this one, when he is going to be too old to be doing. Well, I mean, he probably can still maybe kick ass, but not like as he was back then, because the game is going to set in like how many years after everything, after Resident Evil 4 and 5 and everything, you know, because this sets in the future. And I'm just wondering if they would even bring them back for whatever reason. They're gonna do something. They're just gonna be background characters. Like, I mean, we're mostly gonna focus with Grace pretty much. Like, unless they are gonna give us the moment we're gonna actually control the other characters just for like the one moment, like with Ethan and then Mia in Resident Evil 7, or we do with what happened in Resident Evil Village. Like, we might change characters in the middle of the story. Maybe. I'm curious if they would. I wouldn't be against it, honestly, just so that it could fit the purpose of why they are there, why we are controlling them, and how good would they be? Will they be even playing differently, or will they play the same like Grace for her gameplay in Resident Evil Requiem? So I'm curious about that. I want to see what they're going to do with this. I'm honestly trying not to think about too much. I have some theories about with what they're going to do with, because I've been hearing theories about how we might see something that relates to Resident Evil Revelations 2, to Requiem.
Ooh, okay.
If you know about the story with the villain in that one. I just wonder, like, if that even is a connected thing that's going to happen, but I'm not too sure. But it'll be interesting. I would like to see how that would go out if that was the case. But no, I mean, I want to be very surprised. I want to go in the dark about this whole thing. But even then, I want to see some things about that we would go for with recurring characters that would have a role into the series. I want to see some really cool things with what guns they're gonna do, what new elements of Resident Evil they're gonna put in Requiem, and the monsters. Obviously, the monsters, the zombies. I'm curious if we're gonna see more any zombie enemies, or any infected ones that are probably going to be a little bit smarter, maybe, or we're just going to have to deal with one big monster that's going to follow you throughout the rest of the game. Like, I'm curious on the settings, on the story, the lore that they're going to put in through. I'm curious about all of that. And as for like future series, future games for the series, I mean, I'm really not sure if I would want to go back to old places like with Raccoon City, because I think we're pretty much done with Raccoon City. Like, that place has been beaten to death because we are like reminiscing on that whole place, how everything changed when Resident Evil 2 became a thing and the bomb goes down and then boom, now everyone remembers, like, man, what happened? Remember Raccoon City? And I'm like, okay, we know about what happened to Raccoon City. We get it. We need to move on. Like, I mean, I'm fine with moving on because I want to know more things that are happening with the world. I want to see new things, new people, new world. Give us more world building, and to see what the heck is everyone doing, and why are there more people trying to act like dicks and releasing viruses here and there for just power, for money, for just stupid reasons, like my girlfriend left me and I'm evil.
Oh my god.
Stupid. Like, stupid reasons like that I don't mind because it's just so stupid. I'm just rolling with it because fuck it. It's the everyone's mean, everyone's stupid. They just wanted to be assholes because fuck it. I'm evil. Just fuck it. Like, I don't mind seeing that if it's just for jokes. Like, maybe for a side game. You know what? That's fine for a side game where people can just be stupid and evil just for the sake of it, while we just going to figure out the whole overall the world with Resident Evil in a sort of serious ways, with the mainline games trying to, you know, become more scary and serious and caring about these characters that we all know and love. We want to see them, how they go through with everything and passing the torch and all that stuff. You know, like, I want to see what they would do with future games after 9. I mean, it would be hopefully exciting, but you know, we never know, because they can sometimes switch genres if they want to. They can switch first person, third person, or even we could maybe go back to fixed camera angles like in the first 3 games. We could do that again. You know, I don't mind that either. So I'm up for whatever they do that is still going to be Resident Evil. That's honestly what I would want to say.
Okay. Bookslap.
I think for me, and maybe this is going to be kind of an odd answer, but for 9, what I want is a lot of quality of life that makes the game fun to play multiple times. So, like, I want stuff like, let me skip the cutscenes. All of them. Don't do any of this weird, like, RE7 stuff. Yeah. Let me skip all of the cutscenes. Let me have, like, a fun New Game Plus. Let me have, like, the answers to puzzles memorized and, like, run through. Basically, I want it to be speed and challenge run friendly. Yeah. I want it to be great on the first experience, but then I want to be able to, like, have a fun time doing whatever kind of extra nonsense the community comes up with. So, like, let that happen smoothly. Some Resident Evil games are much better than others. Like, I love 7, but it's a pain in the butt to play multiple times because of the way that it forces you to, like, go through certain things. Oh, yeah. So I just want 9 to, like, have a lot of quality of life in whatever it is. So, like, whatever they do, fine, I trust them, but I want it to, like, feel good to play multiple times.
All right. Shiny?
Let me get Grace punch one boulder, and I'll be so fucking happy. But for real, realistically, I think I agree. I agree with Bookslap. I think having to be able to play, be able to play repetitively after, make it fun after. Like Resident Evil 4 Remake is like one of my favorite games. I've ran through that game like 5 times because of how fun it is just to keep going, try to get all the unlocks. But I think doing that, and I think kind of if they kind of stick to what they did with 7 to make it really like a little, I don't want to say it's gonna be the wrong word to say, but like kind of like grounded a little bit, like in that sense, like yes, okay, you have this whole supernatural horror shit where like it's not too crazy, like as long as they keep it kind of like in line with that, and it's not this stupid fucking Resident Evil 6, like, oh, we're all super damn superheroes. Like, as long as they don't do that, I'll be happy with that. That's all. That's what I will want. That's all. I'll be happy with that. And as long as they keep it nice and spooky, that's all I need.
All right. So, for me, this is what I really think that they should do moving forward. For Requiem, I would like to see them like. I mean, I would like to see a lot more twists in the game, like, and I would like some more surprises. I just want to be surprised and see just what type of directions that the story can go. There were some directions there were some directions in Resident Evil Village that I was not expecting whatsoever when I played it, and I just couldn't believe how some of the stuff in the game actually worked. But I loved it. I loved every minute of Village. But I do love a good surprise every now and then. But I also want them to be able to focus on the new characters and not so much as to rely on bringing back a lot of the older characters people want. Like Leon would make sense, but I don't want to see them just bring back a random character from like previous games for the sake of it. It has to mean something. It has to make sense within the story. That being said, I want more Barry Burton, please. Please give me some more Barry Burton.
Best Dad Barry.
Yes.
Barry Burton.
And
It might be up there by now.
And in terms of moving forward, well, I do think that we should eventually get a Resident Evil game where you play as Rosemary. But I would say what they should do for the future is why not just have a game where like we kill off a certain Resident Evil character that's been around for a long time, and then pretty much find ways that lead up to killing said character. And you wonder which character I think they should kill off? Can we please kill off Chris?
Okay, I was gonna say it's Chris or Jill. You're gonna say Chris or Jill.
Chris.
Okay, funny you mentioned about that.
And there's going to be a like a question for the community topics about Chris Redfield, and I'm going to elaborate more on that when we get there. But I do think that they should kill Chris off at some point. And the only other thing I would want moving forward is keep up with what you got already with the gameplay, because I feel like it's fantastic. Sure, tweak things here and there, quality of life stuff, yes. Add more accessibility features, 100%. Don't do any radical departure change, please. Like, at least not now. Like, you're doing fantastic with Resident Evil 7 and 8, as well as the remakes. And I'm looking forward to seeing how 9's going to be like. Keep the momentum train going. That's all I want. Keep the momentum train going. So, that's my answer. I have one question for you guys before we do the community questions. So, Epic, we're going to start with you. How much does the Resident Evil series mean to you?
It means to me that this series has been the pinnacle of survival horror for a lot of other game developers, to see that it has been making more and more series to come off to make their own versions of Resident Evil or just their own survival horror games. And I like seeing that. It is to inspire so many people for what they want to do for making their own scary game. And we've seen so many other games that reference or make inspirations of Resident Evil, and it is always really nice to see that. It's always cool to see people trying to make their own thing and giving a nod off to Resident Evil. And I love playing Resident Evil games all the time with my aunt and my other friends, and we just like to talk about them and seeing how the story and the lore goes to in different places. It is such a really good and fun experience for everyone to see. It's just so good. I would say that even with the original director from the first game, Shinji Mikami, he went to make his own game studios with Tango Works, and he made The Evil Within to make it like Resident Evil. And not a lot of people vibe with the first game, and the second game they did, but it wasn't too successful, and so we didn't get a third game that we would have wanted. And I would say I like the first. I like the first Evil Within, even if the game didn't make any sense in terms of how the story goes along, because we're inside of a psycho's mind and we're trying to figure out how to get out of there. I still vibe with the art style, the character designs, the monster designs were so freaking awesome. Just the world inside of a person's mind that goes berserk just feels really at home, makes me feel like I'm in a crazy person's mind. And Resident Evil, of course, with Shinji Mikami, he has done so much with the first game. With Evil Within, just they did so really cool things and nods with Resident Evil, because it is, well, it's trying to be scary and it's trying to be survival horror, and he did a good job on that. But I can understand why people didn't vibe with how the characters are or with the story and just how it tries to connect with each other and trying to make things sense with the lore and all that. I can understand that, but I just can't help but I like them anyway in my own way. I just think that with survival horror from Resident Evil, they have inspired so many people to go off to do their own things. I mean, we've seen other franchises, like with Silent Hill, being similar like that for Resident Evil in its own way. And I do want to play more Silent Hill games, because I honestly have not played much of them at most. But I do want to play the remake of 2. I want to play the original first game and 2 and 3 and even 4. I mean, I'll play 4, even if people said that was not good, but I'll still play it anyway. But I would really think that this franchise has been making people grow fond of survival horror, because it is not the greatest of genres like with other ones, because they always feel niche back in the day at least. But now it has been growing more and more with more games, even with indie games like Signalis being a thing. That was a really good survival horror game, and I want to see more like that. And yeah, like I just like seeing how it inspired more people to play more, so you can see how other people make their own versions. I mean, it's really cool, I mean, even with the movies, as bad as they were, I mean, even the one with the that one that is after the remake, they did like a conjoint version with the 2 games movie, Welcome to Raccoon City movie live action one.
Oh yeah.
I thought that one's okay. They at least tried to follow the games. It's okay, but I just feel like they could have just at least made 2 parts and just do with the first game and the second game as different movies. But they just thought that because the story and the timeline kind of conjoins together, but not really, because they're not really close in terms of timeline. It would have to be 2 and 3 if they wanted to do two games at once, because they both are conjoined together for how the lore was for both of those games. So, but yeah, and I will say I am looking forward to the new Resident Evil movie that they're gonna do, made by the director of Weapons.
Yeah.
He's gonna do Resident Evil movie himself, and he said he's gonna do it as a original story that is trying to be like Resident Evil, and he wants to do it justice by playing the games himself. So I'm excited to see how that goes. I really hope it's good at least, or at least entertaining. I'm not sure how I would see a movie they could do for the franchise, but I'm really hoping for a good one. So, but I enjoyed some of the live action movies back then. Not all of them, just only some of them. They're still entertaining at most, if anything. But yeah, that's how much it means to me.
Okay. Very good. Bookslap.
I guess I would say that for what it means to me, it's like, because it's a franchise that I've played like basically from the beginning and through my whole life. It's like this friend that I've seen grow and develop alongside of me. So it's like, to see how far it's come, and to see like Requiem, 9 being there, it's like, it's this reflection moment of like, yeah, man, we have been doing this for 30 years. Like, this and this, like, it's like we've come a really long way. Wow, look at us go. Yeah. And then I give like Resident Evil a high five because it's like personified in this metaphor. Yeah, so it's like this old friend, really, that I relate to in a way. We've both had problems, we've both learned and grown from them, and like, we're better, we're maybe better than we've ever been, maybe.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Shiny?
Oh, it's such a tough thing to answer. I don't know. It's Resident Evil for me is just one of those games that, it's just always there. It always just comes back. And like, after 6, I was like so like done with this series, and like just being able to like to come back to 7, I'm just like, wow, they really turned this around. They actually made a comeback. So I don't know. For me, I don't know. It's such a tough question to answer. Just Resident Evil for me, it's just one of those. It's just a horror game that's just always just gonna be there for me. Like, it's like, if I just want to play something spooky, I'm just like, yeah, I know, I get some good jump scares out of there. Like, I mean, I played Resident Evil 2 remake like a couple of times, and like, there's always something like I know what happens in the game, and it's still always like there just be one zombie. It's like, and I'm just like, yeah. So it's a comforting game for me. That's a horror game that I just know it's something that's always going to be there for me.
Yeah. Joe?
Yeah, literally the same. I love that metaphor for life, by the way, Bookslap. That was really
Right?
like, yeah.
You're welcome. Feel free to use that.
That hit different. But yeah, no, it's like the same way. I grew up with it. It's the reason I got into survival horror from the begin with, kind of like how FF6 was my intro to JRPGs. It's like that series, like, I love diving deep into its lore and reading like too much into where things could go, and like, I like to have fun with like other people's theories, and it's just like, all right, why do you think this might happen, sort of thing, and like where their head goes with it, because it's always like you can kind of go anywhere with this series with how many like loose ends they kind of have with all the spin-offs and stuff like that. So like, to actually have, to kind of to come full circle and have a game in the main line that is pulling something from what essentially is a spin-off series, it's kind of interesting to see where they take it, what they're going to consider canon in that spin-off series of Outbreak games, because of the way both of those games both end with, the same set of characters, sort of thing. You can kind of go a lot of places with it. And I love the fact that like there are still characters within that lore of Raccoon City that they can still pull from. And it's like, it's such a special place because that is the area that people are synonymous with Resident Evil. You think Resident Evil, you think Raccoon City for the most part. And it's like, yeah, we've been around the globe at this point, but there's just something to be said about having still unfinished things with an area that we thought was completely destroyed at the side of Redcon, but it completely destroyed, and now it's just this one little subset that got, and now you can kind of like come up with so many other stories in it, and that's what it's always been for me. I always love, like, I love the horror aspect. I love horror things, but the weird sci-fi moments of that I get from my dad. And so that is like where I want to see, all right, what was really, what else could have possibly been going on? What is this third nest facility that like they teased at like the at the end of the trailer? Like where can we go? So I'm big on like the lore, and like anything can really happen now at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, this series means a lot in a sense where just getting into it, and then the games just took me to completely different directions. They want to scare me. They want me to get pumped up with all the action. They want me to be immersed with the world and the lore of the characters. They want me to care about the characters that I am playing as, or the characters that I'm helping out and all that, while also going after like any of the villains, some of which I would sympathize with because of the fact that they were either brainwashed or like they were forced to carry out something based on whoever was giving them the orders to. But overall, I just love what this series had to offer. There was just way too much that went on that I'm like, if I would have to play these games again, I would. Except for maybe Resident Evil 0 or Resident Evil 6. I probably would not play those games again.
You really hate 0. Like...
Giant bat!
Well, it's not the worst game of the series, though. It's the worst of the mainline games, in my opinion. But you wonder what the worst game of the series is?
Operation Raccoon City.
Yeah, and
it's so fun.
It's not too bad for my opinion,
wait.
but you know, everyone.
Did I say I was done?
Wait, is that the first one or second? Was that there was two of those? One that was Raccoon City, and wasn't there
Umbrella
a second
Corps.
one?
Umbrella Corps.
Umbrella Corps.
Umbrella Corps is the one that nobody wants to talk about. Nobody.
I would argue Umbrella Corps is worse. Yeah, that's why I was like, yeah.
Okay.
I was like,
Okay,
yeah,
I'll
wait.
give you that.
Well,
I will grant you.
Or even the multiplayer games like Resistance or the Reverse. Like that game came out and nobody talks about it.
Reverse
And the
came
game
and went.
dead.
Man, Resistance could have been good. It's just that people hacked the hell out of it. Like, if people
I did not hear
actually
about that one.
played it, if people actually played it instead of just cheating, it was kind of like a Resident Evil version of Dead by Daylight, and like it actually kind of worked. And it basically was, and it was
Could
fun.
have been good.
People just hacked it right away, and then everybody left after like a week, and it just went down in flames. They didn't handle it right.
That's a shame.
I wouldn't be surprised if people hacked it just to sabotage the game.
Oh, I'm sure. Sure.
Look, gamers are they're bad.
They're bad.
Yeah.
Gamers, they're bad. Can you believe it?
Oh man.
All right.
Yeah, no, it was a reverse because like it suffered from like not having enough content at launch, and my favorite thing was it was fun, but it was the same 3 maps like repetitively, and it took too long to get to that point. And by the time they had enough to like actually be like, hey, y'all want to play it, like nobody was playing the game anymore, and I was just like, oh, okay, well,
Yeah, I was
Move
there
on.
too for the start.
Yep.
Now it's gone. It's officially gone.
It's gone.
Yep, it's gone.
It's gone. So yeah. So the community questions, we're going to start off with Ice Pick's question. Do you wish that we've gotten Resident Evil 1.5 or one of the failed prototypes of Resident Evil 4 instead of the final games that we did get? So before we answer that, for context, so Resident Evil 1.5 is the prototype of Resident Evil 2, and it had a completely different character, Elza Walker, who was a biker, and you also have Leon Kennedy, but it's just there was no Claire Redfield. It was a completely different game, and it didn't really make it too far in development. Like there was like a build like from like 1997, I believe, when Resident Evil 2 was being hyped up, because Resident Evil 2 came out in 98, but it had different scenarios, you had different characters, but it's just Claire Redfield replaced Elza Walker. For Resident Evil 4, like we had multiple prototypes. You had the stylish one that became Devil May Cry. You had the castle, which didn't really see the light of day. You had the hallucination, which also didn't see the light of day. And then you had the zombie, which is the one that we actually got. Well, actually, no. Actually, it's not. It's actually another version. We didn't get that, but they kept.
Yeah, those all got spun to different things. I know Castle became the haunting ground.
Yeah, and there was the Bookman demo that I don't think became anything.
Yeah,
but you can play it. It exists. Like you can find a version of it.
Yeah.
So
you can play it.
So to answer my question, to answer that question that Icepick asked, no. I think that I'm happy with the games that we actually did get.
I honestly would say I kind of wish we would have gotten those, because I thought the idea with Leon going to the castle and having these hallucination would have been an interesting take for a Resident Evil game where there were going to be supernatural things happening that would mess with his mind, and you would have to figure out, was this real? Was this not? Huh? No? Like, I thought that's like something they would have gone for, but I mean, I'm kind of okay with not going in that direction, because what we got now is honestly good, and really it's just, it could have done like with just maybe we would have actually have it like something as its own game. We did have a Haunting Grounds, and we have Devil May Cry when they were trying to do with Resident Evil. So we have those at least. But I would have liked to see maybe Resident Evil going for the more supernatural routes if they ever do it. But that's just my take. But it would have been interesting, I would say.
Yeah. Bookslap?
I don't think so. Like, the question is asking, like, would you rather have had these instead? Like, no. I think 2 and 4 are both classics, like, all-time greats in terms of all video games. So, like, no, I definitely don't. 1.5, it wasn't anything... Like, you can play it, you can check it out. It wasn't, like, really anything special. I appreciate that they give some nods to... I always forget, was it Elza Walker or Eliza Walker? It was Elza. Okay, I always forget exactly. I appreciate that they give some nods to her with like the biker outfit on Claire in some things, as like, hey, remember this? But like, no, I don't feel like we're missing out on anything. And as far as the other versions of 4, I don't wish that we got them instead of 4. But I do think it would be cool to have the, like, Hookman and the hallucinogenics kind of thing, the, like, dark mist that would come after Leon. Like, that would be cool as something else, but I wouldn't want it instead of what we got, no.
Yeah, agree.
If anything, I think the hallucinogenics would have been better if they would have been a DLC expansion or something.
Yeah, that would have been
but
fun.
Other than
that could be
okay. Yeah, I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, Resident Evil 4 was pre-Horse Armor, so we weren't thinking about DLC yet, but...
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But
or even then, like, if Resident Evil 4 Remake had another DLC where if Leon would have gone to another castle that has some hallucinogenic things in there, like just for like, saying, hey, we did this in the prototype, so let's make it its own DLC in the remake, because why not? That would have been cool. I would like that. I would have paid for it.
Yep. So, Shiny?
I'm happy with what we got. I, sure, it'd be cool to see what could have been, but at the same time, like, if we got if we got that what could have been, I'm like, it could have just been something totally terrible. So I think we're good with what we have. I'm happy with what we have.
Joe?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is that the big thing about Resident Evil is open-endedness, right? And it's like they closed a book on Raccoon City and wrote themselves into a corner by, trying to constantly try to end that chapter sort of thing. And then, where do you go from there? So you create all these other stories with, the characters and where they've been since those incidents and the repercussions of that.
Yeah.
And you take it on from that approach, which is kind of nice. You don't get that if 1.5 happens, mainly because you don't have the connection of one with Claire to Chris. You just have a person that's there all of a sudden dealing with more like an anthology thing where it's like, okay, this story's done. What's the next story sort of thing? And it's like, it's nice that you have this everlasting connection from game to game, regardless of whether it's a side story or it's mainline, and whether it's canon or not canon. They usually try to throw something in there to kind of like nod back at it, regardless of how goofy it is or not.
Yeah.
And no matter how many times they try to kill off Leon Kennedy, and then decide to rewrite it. The other fun fact, real quick, about 1.5 is the shell of that is what was used for Onimusha 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's cool. I
Interesting.
didn't know that.
Yeah, Onimusha was a great game.
It was fun. Yeah.
So
I gotta play that.
Looking forward to the new one.
yeah, I still gotta I gotta play Onimusha 2 and 3 at some point, but someone asks, what are your thoughts on Game Boy Color Resident Evil 1? It actually almost happened. It almost happened, and I've seen how it looks. It actually looks very impressive for what they were going for. It's just they never got to finish it, and there were some screenshots that I gotta see if I can find the screenshots that are floating around. But I remember seeing it.
That's what they did.
Because I remember Capcom like advertised this alongside like other Capcom games for Game Boy Color, and then it was supposed to come out in 1999 or 2000, but then it got canceled because they were having issues with the game. But this is basically one of the screenshots. I'm posting in the podcast guest room for you guys to see. So, this is actually like for what they're going for. It was very ambitious. Like I just could not believe that they actually tried doing this for Game Boy Color. Like I wonder how things would have been. I think this could have actually been a pretty decent way to play Resident Evil 1. It's just that for what they were going for Game Boy Color, I thought back in '99, like it actually looked pretty good. Like this was because it was pushing the limits to the point where they could not finish it. They just like it doesn't look. It's like when you look at it at first glance, it's not anything special. But given the limitations of the Game Boy Color and what they're going for, it actually works. It's just it sucks that they never got to finish it though. But personally speaking, it could have been fun. It could have been.
Yeah, like it's a very bold thing to do for having to put in a Game Boy Color cartridge when because that game is 3D, and they would have probably gone away with it if they would actually figure out the limitation workarounds on it. I mean, because like maybe if they would have waited, because I mean, the thing is, we never really had a Resident Evil game on the Game Boy or Game Boy Advance type of version or their own version story for Resident Evil. Yet we had one like Silent Hill on the Game Boy, but that's only because that's a novel game. They only just get the FMV of the cutscenes of Silent Hill 1 and just putting text all over it just to say it's a story type of game to read off instead of just playing the actual Silent Hill on the Game Boy. And it only released in Japan because, I guess they just don't think they would have done it well in the US because people in Japan likes to read more, and they don't think it would probably do good
Well-
in the U.S. Maybe, I guess. I honestly have no idea.
Joe and I had the exact same idea at the same time, where like people did not ever expect that there was going to be a Resident Evil 2 for Game Boy Advance. There was a tech demo that showed like how what it could have been. And
it would have been interesting. I would have liked to play that.
it actually probably would have worked better than how Resident Evil 1 on the Game Boy Color would have worked, but just the fact that they tried it all was actually interesting. Just
honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing what the plan would have been for the Game Boy Color version of RE1, because remember the RE1 had the Game Boy Color had a D-pad, start, select, AB.
yeah.
How do you do all of the actions with those buttons? I mean, at least the Game Boy Advance had an L and an R. Like, I could kind of see you being able to do some things with that. But how would you have handled the interactions with the game world? And what would you have had to streamline? Like, I could envision RE1 on Game Boy Color as like one long puzzle, kind of like an old, like almost like a Manic Mansion type game where like you had to pick up things in certain orders to be able to solve the puzzle of the game, because you couldn't interact. Like you see those screenshots of like the hallways and the residents, it's like you couldn't move around in the way that it doesn't fit. So it'd be interesting to see what the design documents were for like how did they intend this to flow.
Yeah,
it would have like had to like change around how the buttons work or how shooting works, and just like everything is like with having in the Game Boy Color would be very challenging. Maybe that's why they just couldn't be able to get it done, because control wise it would be very difficult, or just it wouldn't work at all. So I guess like you would need enough buttons or ways of buttons to get around with just maybe using the B button with the D-pad, or the select button would work for this and this and that. Like it's a convoluted mess to go around with these limitations on just the few buttons.
exactly.
And it would be very hard, and they would probably just would make them bang their heads against the wall because they just couldn't figure out how the heck they're just going to put a 3D game on a Game Boy Color, which we've seen ways of doing it on the Game Boy Advance. We've seen like other games that people have done that are impressive to see for a limited type of console that 3D wouldn't go crazy, but it can work. Just it's just really, how the heck would you even get around it?
Exactly.
It can work, but you gotta know if it can really work.
Yeah.
It's how we ended up getting Gaiden, and like that top-down view with the pretty much the same like sprite work with the character itself, just downsized so that way you can actually like move around, and like with the whole inventory mechanic, essentially you just ended up moving everything to a pause menu and have everything sorted out there. But then instead of like having to constantly shoot zombies, that was the one thing that was like weird. It was like you had to like aim into them to get into the battle, or else if they bit you, you'd take damage and then go into the battle.
Yeah.
But it kind of sparked for the creativity there. That was just like, oh, okay, well, we can't do it the way we envisioned it on the PlayStation, so let's just make this into a whole other game and put the money towards that, as opposed to trying to recreate something that we just technically do not have the power to do on an 8-bit system.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think about all this, Shiny?
I don't know, man. Trying to think. I don't know. I don't know. I just would have loved. I would have loved to see how they could have tried to spin an older Resident Evil onto the older ones. Like, I don't know. just thinking about what they could do. Like, but again, the system's so limited. Like, I don't really know like how like they would have done it. I would have loved to see like some like conquer for, like Ferde top down, like, you know, going like, or like old Legend of Zelda type thing, like to see something like that with Resident Evil game. I think that would have been something pretty cool.
That would have been nice.
It could work, maybe.
That would have been nice.
It could work like that, honestly.
Yeah. I just think that it would have been very interesting to see just where they would have went with like porting these games to Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance. Like I know like we got Resident Evil 1 on the DS, Deadly Silence. Would have been nice to see if they would have done like Resident Evil 2 on that, just to see how that would have worked.
They could have easily done that.
They could have done them. But it is what it is. So next one is from Dari Gamer. What are your feelings towards action and survival horror Resident Evil? Should they fuse or should they stay separate? They've pretty much already fused. The Game Boy Color Conquer. Yes, I read that from Blockbuster back in the day.
There it is.
So yeah, I do think that like they did fuse the survival horror and the action in Resident Evil. So I don't mind them if they're fused together, but that's just my opinion. Like I just think it's fine.
They're fine. Like they're fine for them being fused. It's just that you have to have a good balance between them because, like, if you look at Resident Evil Village, like Peter said that it is pretty much inspired like Resident Evil 4, which it is. I mean, you seen the attaché case, inventory thing in Village. It's pretty much like 4, and the overall setting is the village, and you go to a village in 4, and just with these monsters instead of like zombies, you have these monsters that are pretty much smart. They know when to attack, they know when to back out. They try to mess with you and all that, and it can be very scary to just go against them, but it's not really super scary because you're in a open environment that you can just go anywhere, and you're not in a enclosed environment like in the house. So you pretty much are okay with just running away, getting around, or just getting to, anyway. But like it's already to the point where we are mixing with both horror and action, and you need to do some actiony stuff if you want to kill off the monsters, but you just don't want it to be like guns blazing Call of Duty, like in Resident Evil 6, be like, oh, and there's monsters holding their guns and be like, and it just becomes, this is not Resident Evil.
Yeah, getting shot at in RE6 is kind of infuriating.
It is.
Same with 5, but that was in the later segments, where in the later levels where they were now starting to go with guns, and that became annoying. Especially if you play that freaking game in professional mode, you're not gonna have a fun time when they're just gonna shoot you down and your health just fucking gone in one shot. It's like
JJ knows what he's doing. He's a good shot.
Yeah,
I guess, but it's like you gotta have a good balance with action and horror if you want to do it for Resident Evil, because that's what we're doing right now. Because Resident Evil 4 started it all with being action blazing. Well, not to the extreme, but they know when to set back and just trying to give you a little tension, a suspense of what's going to happen if you're not playing your cards right. And you gotta think, you gotta have a strategy on how you want to go against these zombies that are about to kill you. And you gotta go get your new gun, or you just want to just see if you can challenge yourself with just a low end pistol that would probably just only do just 1 shot or 2 shot or 3 shots or whatever, because it's good to have a scare of you think you're going to die because you don't know how to do guns good. But you can do good if you know how to strategize yourself with a better gun and just go gun blazing and kill everyone with no problem. And that's fine, because, Resident Evil is becoming like you want to challenge yourself and you want to have a good time or get scared, because it can be anything with any of with these genres, because they're trying to have a mix of both, but they gotta have a way to have a balance.
Yeah. Bookslap?
I mean, I kind of already covered it before, where like, and I kind of agree with what was just said, where it's like I want a balance. It's like I lean towards more of the scary versus intense versus the action. That's not to say that I haven't enjoyed the action games. I've actually done all of the achievements for RE5 twice. It's a great game to play with your partner, by the way. Like, just you duo co-op. It's a great like icebreaker, like first kind of game together thing. Same from personal experience. So it's not that I don't enjoy the action games. It's just like I do want there to be some level of balance. Like, and I want, like, when we do get to the really actiony parts, and like when Requiem, eventually, yeah, we're gonna get to a point where like Grace has her like, no, I'll handle this, like channeling her inner Claire Redfield moment. Like, it's gonna happen, sure, but I want that to be against like one scary monster or like 3 zombies.
Yeah.
Not like 100, you know? Like, make them threatening enough where you like have this level of balance, not just like faceless mooks like in 6 where where there's like 100 sea mutants coming at you at once or something. Actually, 6 is a great example of this because there's an enemy in 6 whose name I cannot pronounce. The Rock Splon G, I think it is. The one that infinitely regenerates. So it's one enemy, but it's chasing you around certain areas. And you can fight it. And there's sequences where you fight it, but you're also trying to like get through the puzzles and the environment, and it's a tone shift where like
Towards the end. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think I know it happens in Jake and Sherry's campaign and in Leon's campaign. They each have a sequence with it. I don't remember if Chris and Pierce have a sequence with it, but it's like you get to do like you're fighting it, sure, but it's one monster that's suddenly threatening enough that it's like you have to manage it and accomplish the goals rather than just like tear through this area to get to the next area that you can tear through. Like stuff like that is actually kind of brilliant, and I want more of that in like the action stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shiny?
It's one of those things where it's like I go back and forth on it, but I think if it's done well, I don't have an issue with it being blended. I think it's fine. I think 8 was kind of getting to the point where like they tried to do a good blend of it, but I felt like it ended up being more action, and I didn't really appreciate it as much. Whereas 7 was just like the straight the scary one. But I mean, if they can do it well, I don't care if it's blended. Like I just like Bookslap said, keep it balanced. That's all it really comes down to. As long as they can do that, I think it's great.
All right. Joe?
Yeah, balance for sure. I mean, it's funny because like even the earlier like the classic versions of like RE3, for instance, is like the earliest signs that I can recall of like it turning into more of an action game than it was survival horror. Like you had the fear of Nemesis chasing you, but like you play a range mode, you can bust out that assault rifle right off rip. If you're playing hard mode, like yeah, you still have the like the fear of losing a significant amount of ammo and like having to worry about inventory checks, but like you're still either like dodging zombies left and right, or you're like blasting through them with a pistol or a shotgun. Either way, there's a lot more theatrics like starting from 3, and then 4 like kind of sets it back a little bit, but as you get through that game, like it becomes full on like action. So like the signs are there early on. I just don't think people have like the recollection or like have gone back and replayed it a while back to realize like how much action was actually set in some of those earlier games.
Yeah. All right, so next one is from Dragonflame. What are your feelings about the kind of character Chris Redfield has become? I'll let you guys go before I do.
Can you rephrase the wait? What was that? Wait, hold on.
What are your feelings about the kind of character Chris Redfield has become? That's what Dragons asked.
yeah, like how has he been doing throughout the whole series? Like, do you think he's going on a good direction, bad direction? Like, what do you guys think about him as a character so far?
I mean, I do like where the direction is now because they did the double thing on 5 and 6 where it was like, he was trying to relearn how to like trust again and not doubt himself about having a partner, and like him losing Jill and kind of overcoming all of that in 5, and to where by the end he's like, okay, yeah, Shev is my partner, and like I can, uh
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a failure, but then you go back to 6 and he's all over again. Like he's lost his giant team and he's having to succumb to like being an alcoholic.
Oh God, why?
Oh, freaking
Point back to back, right? But I think I like the direction they're going with Chris, where it was like, the hell am I doing after all this time? Like I'm with the I go through all these events. We come up with the BSAA. We're defending bioterrorism, and now we're working with these assholes and like them having to correct things because of their mistakes, and him realizing it kind of like seems like history is repeating itself again with like within the BSAA, and them experimenting with whatever it is they're experimenting with these soldiers, and it's just like, all right, hold up, what the heck?
Yeah, that
So
was
it's
crazy.
it's yeah,
mm-hmm.
it's
Something's
like,
fishy going on.
what the hell are we doing here? Who's on the end? Who the hell is experimenting with, especially within a company that I helped start up, It's like there's so many different ways that part in particular can go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like what I would, to be honest, I don't have very many feelings about the direction that they've taken him. I don't like how they tried to pretend that he was bad for 8. Spoilers, he's not bad. Like, they try to be like, oh, he betrays you. No, immediately, like, that he did. But I do kind of, this kind of came up earlier where it's like, I don't want him to have a death. I want Chris to be allowed to retire. My dream scenario would be like, let it be that Chris raises Rose, he teaches her, she's his protege, and he like passes the baton and like let her take over from him and let Chris retire. He's put in his time. He doesn't need to die. He can just stop and just let him be, let him just sail off into the sunset. Like that's what I want for Chris.
All right.
Yeah, good luck with that, considering that he just always goes after these
It's never going to happen. I know. It's okay. It's fine if I have a dream. It's fine if I have a dream. Just let me have this.
He just can't give up because all the things that he's been going through in 6 just speaks volume about what the fuck is wrong with my fucking life. Everything I touch dies.
I do think it's funny. I do think it's funny how canonically Leon has a drinking problem, and yet the character they keep showing getting drunk is Chris.
Yeah.
You reminded me of the freaking movie when he was drinking, and I'm like, what the fuck, Leon? This is not you. What the fuck?
In the OG, Leon is late for his first day of work because he was hungover.
Oh yeah.
That's why he gets to the RPD late and isn't there when everything goes down.
Yeah.
Damn, talk about first day on the job, and now first a drinking problem, and now a zombie problem. What the fuck is wrong with me?
Leon's also got a lot of issues.
Mm-hmm.
He's just pretty. He's just pretty, so the internet ignores it.
He's a pretty boy.
Yeah, he's got privilege.
Yeah, but I mean, like for me with Chris, I like that it is just him trying to overcome his overall issue with trust after what happened with him and Jill, and then even with Veronica, Code Veronica, and he was trying to stop Wesker from enacting his plan, and then now with 5, he stopped him, he saved the day, but it didn't feel like it was enough because there's still more things that are going on, and in 6 it was just over and over, trauma after trauma after what happened with him losing his team because of quote unquote Ada, what happened, what she did to his team, and then now he has Pierce, with him being on board. And the thing is, I've heard there were rumors about what they were gonna do with Chris in 6, is that they were gonna kill him and have Pierce as the one that passed the torch, but it couldn't have gone well because they would have been afraid that killing him off in the game where not many people were fond of. They didn't think it would be a good honorable death for Chris, so they decided to say, okay, wait, we're not doing with this. Let Pierce do it. He's going to be the one that pushes the button, and thus, he sacrificed himself and have Chris to go on and live. Which honestly, I mean, it would have been an interesting way to see Pierce to go on, but at the same time, we didn't feel enough with Pierce, in my opinion, at least, to say, yeah, he's a new Chris. He's a new Chris. Like, I like Pierce. He's a really interesting character. I would have wished he would have actually stayed alive, but to have him as the new Chris, I don't know if I would say that's a good idea, in my opinion.
No.
Like, it's just not the right call to say, okay, guys, let's kill Chris. Like, I don't know. I see what you're doing, because Chris has been going through enough, and the way he was talking about how he was giving Pierce the promotion when they were going to the bottom of the sea in the last level. I get that that's what they were going to go with, but then under the sea, like they would have done that way where, like, yeah, this is how he's gonna pass the torch and, you know, become the next in line for the BSAA, and that would have been interesting. But at the same time, we don't know we would actually be good with that, because we would feel sad. We would actually feel really bad about how this is how he's gonna die like this, because really it just didn't feel right. So yeah, it was a rumor. We don't know if it was really true that Capcom were gonna do it, but, you know, it felt like they would have actually done it if they were to actually go with it. But no, they just decided to say, you know, Chris, he's fine. But I don't mind what he's doing right now. Like, I get what they're gonna go with him, and I would have liked to see him actually pass the torch with Rose. I would actually, you know, be fine with that, you know, because really he has been going through a lot, and he needs to lay back, and maybe he be a support if he wants to keep going with stopping the bioterrorists, if that's the case.
Yeah.
Because really, he's gonna get old. He's not gonna be the same. He's gonna be just not be able to function if he feels like he's gonna be acting all irrational about his plans to try to stop the bioterrorists. You know, like, sure, it could have gone way worse with what he did with Ethan in Village, but, you know, it really just feels like, yeah, maybe he needs to step off before he does anything even worse.
Right.
Like, give Rose the next in line to become the next hero, you know. But right now, I don't know. We don't know if she is even going to appear in this game or not. But, you know, maybe we will see some resemblance with them or anything at all in this game or in the next game, you know, because we have no idea what they're going to do with Rose or Chris or anyone else at the moment. But it would have been cool.
Yeah.
It would have been cool. But I don't mind with what Chris is doing. I just think they should just have him just sit back and let the other heroes do it.
Okay. Shiny, what do you think about this? What do you think about the direction of Chris Redfield?
I don't really feel one way or the other with it. I just, you know, I agree that having Chris spun to look like a villain in 8 was really dumb, and then he wasn't. It just, I just remember seeing the ads. I was like, oh, and also like the whole average, like a lot of the advertisers were like, because also it was like the way, you know, again, my thing, it looks like he's on the cover. I'm like, oh, he's gonna be werewolf when we find this game. I'm like, oh, you're not even werewolf. Like, what the hell is that? So I don't know. But anyway, going back to the actual character, I'm like, I don't know. I don't love the guy. I don't hate the guy. I used to like him, but then as I got more and more, I was like, whatever. I don't feel really strong one way or the other about him. I think he's, like you said before about this whole, like, let's get the old guard, let's send them off to give him new one. I think I agree with that. I think let's just give him his pass the torch to Rose. I think that's great, and then just see you later. Go hang up your polar gloves, and then just go kick back. Just have a great time in retirement.
I'm just sick and tired of Chris Redfield. Everything about him. There's so many other characters in this series. I think what also pisses me off is, like, in the Marvel vs. Capcom games, at least with 3 and Infinite, that they just were adamant on using Chris. I understand with 3, Resident Evil 5 was the latest game, but then with
3 made sense.
But then with Infinite, like, he didn't need to be there. He didn't need to be there. But then I know that 6 was like the last major game, like that in Revelations 2. But they weren't gonna fucking put Barry Burton in Marvel vs. Capcom. So, yeah.
Even though he's awesome in Rev.
Come on, modders. Like, bring in the modders.
So he's really amazing.
Yeah, why not?
I'm so over Chris Redfield. I think it's time for him to go. Even if he doesn't need to die, it's time for him to go. It's time for him to stop. So no more Chris Redfield, please. Claire Redfield, on the other hand, different story. We could bring her back if the story makes sense. We could bring her back. But Noble Boy asks, which Resident Evil game, in your opinion, has the best and worst plot in the series? Oh boy, best plots, best plot.
Best and worst.
It's a toss. For me, best plot. It's a toss up between 4 and 7. Worst plots. I mean, I've already put Resident Evil 0 down enough. Like, I wasn't really a fan of that plot, but if I have to go with another game that has an even worse plot than that, probably 6. Yeah, I'll go with 6.
That's a good way to say that.
Like, so my answers, 4 and 7 for best, 0 and 6 for worst. That's it. That's my answer.
Is it valid to say Umbrella Corps has the worst plot, even though there's not much to it?
Right.
I mean, it's just a multiplayer game, and just I don't know. It's just I'm just trying to make it an excuse to say Umbrella Corps sucks ass, and I don't want it to be like.
That's valid. That's a mood.
But
it's kind of just an alternate take on 2 and 3, technically. So
is it really? I mean, I didn't even
got the
think
red
about
queen in there. What do you mean?
It's just I didn't think about that whole thing. It's just why did that game have to exist?
I don't know.
I was thinking Operation Raccoon City. That's why I was like, wait.
I mean, yeah, that's not a bad choice.
I would say maybe I have a controversial choice for this. I'm going to say best plot is 5 because there's not too much to it, but it works cohesively. The DLC fleshes out like what happened before and how did these characters get there. Like, it's fine, regardless of your thoughts on Desperate Escape, because that is the action sequence that we never wanted. But it's it fleshes out the story. Yeah, we didn't need it. It was fine. They can just show up at the volcano. It's cool.
Magically
but still,
appears.
it's like there's not a whole lot to it, but it makes sense. You don't need 1 and Code Veronica and all of that stuff to understand it, and it cuts off and lets the future move on. Like, it works. 5 honestly works, and it has a villain who sounds like Meowth in the middle of it, so it's great. I'm gonna honestly say I'm not kidding about that. I've never played 5. He sounds exactly like Meowth.
You're right. No, you are on the money.
Yes.
I'm gonna maybe controversial choice is that the worst plot is maybe 1. To be quite honest, nothing about it works. 1 is great, super important, very influential game. Great, not for the plot. Like, nothing about it makes sense. Like, the reason why they're exploring up in the woods, how much time anything takes. Like, you're collecting combat data on the unit, but the unit was made to be killed. And also, how does Wesker have 2 day jobs? Where is he? When is he like in the lab? And when is he in the police station? Like, have you ever thought about that? How does any of this work? None of it works. Literally none of it works.
True, but
You're not wrong. You're not
true,
wrong.
but I have a counterpoint for you on that. But what about like almost turning into a Jill sandwich?
Look, Barry tells everyone that story, all right? Which is also a reference in Rev 2. I'm telling you, it's a great game. I'm all about it now that I've played it for 3 hours. Yeah, like the voice acting, great. It does make me feel a little bit bad that Barry is one of those characters that is like the grizzled veteran and he's like 35. And I'm like, wow, thanks. He's the old man. Barry, maybe you're getting tired. Like, wow, dang, bro. You didn't have to come for me like that.
Yeah, like, and the thing is that like those actors in the full motion video cutscenes, as well as the voice actors that they actually got, they were just random people Capcom got from the street.
They were people literally on vacation.
Like,
Yep.
Yep. And they paid them less money too. Go ahead.
There was like an agency that like called all these random actors that were like either in Japan and spoke Japanese, or just like the talent agency they used just kind of like grabbed anybody, and like the budget for that film sequence was bare bones. So like when they presented it back, because I think it was Shinji Mikami that was directing that whole thing, or like he was at least leading that part. He chose to, and they brought it back, and it was just like, yeah, I guess we have no other money to update things, so we're gonna have to use it.
Well, like, what's funny is that because they did the same shit. Capcom did the same shit with Mega Man in addition to doing this with Resident Evil. Like, they just pull people into the street, like from the street to do voice acting, or in the case of Resident Evil live action, like full motion video cutscenes. It's just funny how like that was their practice at the time. Let's see. What do you what else do you think was the best and worst plot in the series? Shiny?
I think best plot for me probably has to be. It's a toss up between 4 and 2 for me. I like, just 4 as the story is great, and just like having the aftermath of what happened with 1 going into 2, I just think it's just a really cool like thing, all that happening. Worst. What's funny is that I don't want to say 6, because while 6 is not a great story, it's more so the mechanics of the game itself are why I think that game's bad. Story wise, it's fine. I remember when I streamed it, I think I probably said, I'm like, this game would be a great game if it wasn't Resident Evil, except for Leon's campaign. I fucking hated his campaign.
Yeah.
Because, Resident Evil 0 probably is probably my answer. Is realistically my
like
answer.
The opera singing leeches? That's not.
It's the one thing I liked from that game that I want them to keep back. Can I go back and answer my question from what I want to see more in the future? I want more of that. Let me run that, rewind and run that back.
Run that back.
Just everything that happened at 0. Just like at the end of the day, I'm just like, oh. Okay, so are we gonna see these characters again? Oh. It's like, all right.
It has no impact on anything. It's
absolutely.
Like,
that's why. Yeah.
Tekken 5 just as a freaking character in Mercenaries.
Oh, true. Yeah.
That's it.
You know, she also needs some. I have to acknowledge, if you've never played with Rebecca in Mercenaries, she has a melee attack where she just pulls out a flamethrower and just blasts a guy in the face, and it's worth it just for that. It's
That's
worth it
awesome.
just for that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say like one thing. I would not. I would want to mention the movie that she was in after everything that she has been absent in the games. I I did not like the way that she was treated as a damsel in distress for no reason.
Oh
Like,
my god.
she was like, I get it. She's a support character. She's helped. She's a medical expert and all that, but she didn't need to be treated like someone that needs to be rescued. You know, she can handle herself at least in a way. But I just didn't like the way how they did it in that CGI movie with her just
Yeah, that was
not
weird.
that being like, yeah, it was,
It was.
that whole movie was weird. Like freaking
Yeah.
all the gunfights with Chris and that freaking bad guy keep shooting at each other and they somehow miss every
Oh,
time.
they're dance fighting.
Holy
Their
shit!
dance
I
gunfight?
love
Yeah,
love
the
that.
dance gunfight that everyone talks about when that movie
they
came
point
out.
everywhere except at each other.
They literally miss. How the fuck does that work? This is like freaking John Wick when they miss each other every time. Like, how does that work? How? Just fucking wild. Just like I know we're talking about the best and worst plots for games at least, but if I had to go outside of that, maybe with some of these CGIs or live action movies, would say they have the worst plots in some aspect, in my opinion, because they don't make sense sometimes. They were going to try to make things bombastic and ambitions, but they just fell flat because they just felt like these are just nonsense of what's going on with these characters and whatnot. But yeah, like, but if I had to pick with the game for myself for the worst plot, I mean, it could be either Resident Evil 6, but that's a given because we all know that was bad. So, but you know, because it's obvious, we all agreed it was the worst story, worst campaign, worst. I know, but not everyone. Like, I know that people have their likes and dislikes with that, but even I didn't mind it for some parts, but it was overall not good. So, but I would pick that or maybe Resident Evil 1 for that reason. Who said that that talked about Resident Evil 1 for the reasons why it doesn't make sense. Bookslap, I agree with what you said about Resident Evil 1 story. Yeah, it would not make sense. So I would probably agree with that for worst plots. But for my favorite plot, maybe I would go with Resident Evil 7 or 4 because I just like the way how the story evolves with Ethan and how he struggles with him trying to save his wife and his kid, and well, even for Village. But like 7, the most I just liked how it evolves with Ethan trying to get through all of this nonsense just to save his wife that could be dead or not. And it's just a whole roller coaster. And I honestly like the way it went with the plot itself. So yeah.
Just want to make sure, Joe, did you answer this one?
No. So it's 2 and 2 is what we're doing, or just 1.
Like, which one do you think is the best, and which one do you think is the worst in terms of plot?
Gotcha. I mean, for me, I think it's 2. There's too many as far as best. Classic in particular, just it makes more sense from a storytelling aspect.
Yeah.
As far as like all the callbacks, the characters, the fact that like even on a deeper rooted level, Claire wearing the Made in Heaven jacket is like the immediate nod. If you didn't know that like she was related to Chris, that was kind of like the open thing there, because Chris has an unlockable outfit in the first game that has the Made in Heaven jacket. And so like that's like your immediate tie-in that like, oh, they're related somehow. The like just everything that they started doing with explaining furthermore of like what Umbrella was doing and how they were basically buying everything out, like basically paying everybody underneath to like kind of take control of the city and like do all these experiments and like pay off Chief Irons, like make sure that like, you know, Wesker is able to do these experiments and stuff like there's so many different tie-ins as far as like how corrupted that city in general was from both a government standpoint and from like the day-to-day standpoint, like even to the train systems and stuff like that for like RE3 and whatnot, which they go in deeper in like remake and stuff, which is really wild. I think as far as worst plot goes, the easy out for me is Gaiden.
Oh yeah,
it's such a goofy story. Like you're Barry, you're on the boat, and like you're going off intel from that like I think Leon is missing in at there, and you play as Leon at some point in the game too, and like there's a whole party system and whatnot. But like it's one of those ones that like it's one of the first times they try to kill off Leon in like many of these, like we're gonna kill off Leon. Okay, no, we're not. We're actually gonna change the plot. But like they actually like kind of go through with it in that game, and it's like the whole what if scenario of like old school NES games where it's just like, is it over? Maybe it's so.
Blood trickling question mark.
Literally that. Like you see the little the green blood coming out of him, and it's like the tyrant that they do in there with like the whole like it can like shapeshift and stuff like that is cool, but it's incredibly like bare bones. Like okay, this is more about the gameplay than it is about the story. So
Yeah.
have fun, go all out, I guess.
Yeah. So the next one is a quick yes or no one from Kyle Gamer. Knowing the genre of Resident Evil, have you ever gotten nightmares after playing the game? No. No. No.
Nope.
No.
Never once in my life I had a nightmare from playing those games. Never.
No.
Probably as a kid. That's about it.
Nah.
I have a weird, twisted sense of humor.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing worried about that. I mean, even I don't know why I don't have nightmares from the games like that. Like, I just don't really. They don't really give me nightmares.
Like, I will say, it's like I do get nightmares every now and then, but I've never gotten a nightmare from Resident Evil. So, no.
I know for me, not Resident Evil, I know one game that like, and it's so funny. Like looking back now, I'm like, I can't believe that. Like, I think this guy played in elementary school. The game that gave me nightmares for a couple of days was Clock Tower. Because like
Valid.
yeah, because I remember my cousin had that game and he showed it to me, and I just remember like the whole begin, like you open up the door, you see the door guy or whatever just there, and then it just falls like with the scissors in his back, and that guy just shaped like just the I don't know when I got cut, and like that, like for like 2 or 3 days I just had nightmares about it, and like looking back at it now, like, well, yeah, that's just not scary. But like back then, I was like, "What the? Oh my god!"
Scene.
It's understandable people get nightmares from that. I mean, the Scissor Man, he's fucking creepy.
Yeah. I will get to Clock Tower at some point. Shad asks, do you prefer the Resident Evil 4 remake or the original? I've only played the original, so I can't answer this question.
I have actually also only played the original, as I admitted earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, more time. What was the question?
Resident Evil 4, do you prefer the original or remake?
It's a tough one for me to say this, honestly. I mean, it's like the thing is that Resident Evil 4 remake has the same beats in terms of how the story goes, with Leon going to rescue the president's daughter and stopping this whole cult from spreading, and just going to the village and kicking shit and all that stuff. Like, it's the same beat for beat from how everything goes, but yet the atmosphere between these games, they're kind of night and day, because with Resident Evil 4 original, they are pretty much trying to go with the B horror flick type of schlock that just feels like it's scary, but it's not that scary, because you're just seeing a guy saving the day, stopping monsters from spreading around and getting the president's daughter. While the remake is really trying to take itself really seriously, like it is trying to act serious, but even nods to the original and trying to be somewhat funny at times with Leon throwing one-liners like he did before, but yet the whole game is still serious because of how everyone treats each other and just, becoming scary in a sense. So, and yeah, like it is different in terms of atmosphere. I would say that it depends on how you would feel, and and even sometimes the gameplay itself, like whether you like the original with its QTEs, where you had to quickly choose the button to get out of situations and not have to go through a freaking loading screen to get back to where you died, and or you can just do without it, and you had to deal with sort of QTEs when you're about to get hit, but you can use the knife button to parry the enemies from trying to kill you. Like those are kind of QTEs, but they're more minuscule and not punishing if you know what you're doing. So it's really like, because gameplay may look and sound the same, but they have they have tweaked with the difficulties for how if you did good in the game, they can really ramp up the difficulty a little bit more to crowd you with the enemies to come at you at once and make the game a little bit more difficult. Like they have some sort of scaling of the difficulties. It depends on how you play the game, which I like. I don't mind it, but at the same time, if you get too good, you probably will feel frustrated if they just throw at you so much that you just think that this game is just punishing you a lot for it. But even then, the game you can still kick everyone's ass for just getting the good guns and getting the good upgrades and all that such. But it just depends on if you really like this game, or you just like the fixed difficulty in the original that they just leave it off as is, where you have normal difficulty, easy, or professional, depending on how you like it. So really, it depends on which one, and I don't mind having to play the original more because I played that version way more than I would say I ever did for any of the Resident Evil games. So, but even then, Resident Evil Remake is a good game still. I still like it for what they did with the characters, the atmosphere, and everything. I still would say the original because it's just fun entertainment, popcorn flick movie type of game that you just like to watch for the fun and just kicking ass with Leon just doing all these kinds of crazy stuff. So, the original is good for me.
All right.
I think lore-wise, I got to go with remake just because of the way they've been rewriting and reimagining a lot of the stuff from like 2, 3 to 4, and like how it actually has a proper connection to the viruses now, and how they're all linked together in terms of like umbrella facilities and stuff like that, and like what's going where. Like they had it there in like the classics, but they do it a lot better in terms of like properly tell like hard confirming in game, as opposed to like having to read them off in like certain books and like different like lore guides that like maybe have only come out in Japan and get like English translations. It's like, where do you pull this from? Well, it's from this book, blah, blah, blah. So I, for that reason alone, have to go with remake for that one. Also, the Krauser fight and not it being in QTE. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh
yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for me, it's kind of gonna be a cop-out answer, but I think I prefer the original Resident Evil 4, but I think Resident Evil 4 Remake is a better game. I think it just plays better. I think it's more replayable. But like I can't like not love the campiness of the original. Like just the first time getting into the camp, not the camp, the first village, everyone leaving, it's like, oh, everyone gonna play bingo. I'm like, okay, I know what I'm getting into in this game. I'm ready. let's do this.
Yes.
That line gets so much love, but people always forget about "no thanks, bro," which is also a great. So to say that to a villain,
I will say though, like, I know I have not played the remake yet, But the one thing I'm curious is about the portrayal of the character of Ashley Graham in that one compared to how she was in the original. Because let's be real, the original one, I could think of only two different characters that she reminds me of, and that's Cindy Vortex from Jimmy Neutron and Sandy Cheeks from SpongeBob, because it's the same voice actress, the same exact Carolyn Lawrence, that same voice actress.
Oh my god!
Yeah, it
Because
is.
I cannot unhear Sandy or Cindy.
That's true.
Yeah, it's kind of funny to think about.
Yeah, it is. All right. Mike asks, would you ever get a Quest 3 to play Resident Evil 4 in VR? I would love to recommend it if you love the original, even though that censors some stuff. I don't know if I see myself getting a Quest 3 anytime soon. And also the fact that I don't have Facebook anymore, so
Well, I mean, you don't really need it, I would say, for using that. I think. I mean,
I think they made. Yeah, I think they made that you don't need it anymore.
okay, good.
yeah, you can just get it and not have the account, whatever. But for like, I have a Quest 2. I have played Resident Evil 4 VR, and I would say it is a fantastic way of playing it. Like, if you are okay with VR motion and just having to move with the left stick, and you can even have the option to just teleport one place to another if you're up for that. But I mean, I'm more good with just moving around with the left stick and just shooting and using the VR controllers to actually feel like I'm actually holding a gun and getting the first aid spray and spray myself and heal up and all that. Just everything about the game was so fantastic that it almost made me feel like I would have said this is probably the better version than the Wii version, because you can literally have your arm and physically feel like you're gonna shoot someone's head like that in the village and trying to kill all the monsters. Like, it's a very great way of playing the game. However, I know that in the VR version, and Mike said it, there are some things that they censored off, which are only minuscule from what I remember, are just from the cutscenes itself, which you got to remember, Resident Evil 4 was made back in the day, like in the 2000s, and things were different with how media was treated when it talks about with the characters' looks and all that stuff. You know, like the famous line with Luis meeting Ashley in the cabin, saying about her chest and all that stuff, which it was funny at the time, but it's now it's different because you know the media is different than how it is back then. And they took that they took several scenes that would deem, you know, problematic because, you know, things were different back then and all that stuff, you know. So, but I don't mind if they took it out because it's still in the original games and you don't lose that at least. But even then, it didn't bother me personally. I don't mind it, but I know not everyone vibes with it, so you know, it's whatever if they even include it in the VR version or not. So, you know, it's totally whatever for me. But even then, I still say the VR version is a great game to play no matter what it is, because it is still fun. It is still good, even if they have used only the way how it looks for the old graphics of Resident Evil 4 into VR. It still feels good to look at. It feels very fresh, and just how you play it, it's so good. It's like my other favorite way of playing Resident Evil 4.
Okay.
But I will still go back to the Wii. I will still go back to the Wii because it is still a good way to play, or just play on the current console or PC if you prefer it that way too.
Yeah, I just feel like for some of the stuff that they definitely changed, like there was some stuff that was disgusting that I like. From what I've heard, I'm just glad that they took out stuff that did not age well whatsoever. Because
that's fair.
Given how things are, I would prefer to just not have it. But
that's fair.
Bookslap?
I mean, I don't know if I really have anything else to add to the discussion. I mean, I have seen a lot of 4 remake. I've seen a lot of 4 remake, a lot of streams of it. So even though I haven't played it myself, I do feel like it's very much a better game. But but it's also different. Like, I'm happy playing the original for like what it is, and just kind of letting that, kind of accepting it as like a whole separate thing. And that's how I feel about a lot of the remakes, with the exception of one, is like, you know, especially changing the controls so significantly. It's like I almost see them as like different games.
Yeah, I totally understand that. But it's like for
that's fine.
but it's like for VR, it's just being able to have the immersion.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. I wouldn't need it. I wouldn't. Let me put it this way. I wouldn't go out of my way to buy a system to set up for any like one game.
Right.
Yeah.
I've made
don't
that
have
mistake. Yeah, I've made that mistake.
Yeah. That's fair.
Can I just say one thing that just I think is very funny with something is when you play the Resident Evil 1 remaster, or whatever you call it, and then Resident Evil 4 on the original with separate ways. I love on those games that they did not upscale the videos. I love that they did not upscale the cinematics on those whatsoever. It's so fucking funny.
Yeah.
It is an interesting choice, but maybe because they forgot, or they just think, it's not in our budget. Let's not deal with this.
They have the original sources for those videos anymore.
Yeah, I think that's probably what it is.
Yeah.
That's probably what it is.
Yeah.
That could be the case, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Square's infamous for that.
They absolutely are. But like
They do.
But would you guys get like in the case of the VR Resident Evil 4, would you actually get it or no?
This is the original one that came out on Quest 2, right?
Quest 3.
Quest 3, is that what
They also came out on Quest 2. It came out on Quest 2 first.
Oh, it's Quest
and
2.
It's compatible with Quest 3, of course, because
okay.
2 or 3.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
but yeah, like because right now, because it is available for Quest 2 and 3. It was first on 2, but it's also available on 3. You know, so it's whatever which of those two.
Okay.
I was like, I thought I had a Quest 2. No, yeah, because I did buy it, and then I played that on stream for a while. I think the only thing that I really can add on to what EpicMan didn't add on already was I didn't like the it blacks out and then it fades back in every time you make a turn. That was the most disorienting.
Oh, I hate that.
Oh yeah, those things. They didn't bother me per se, but I can imagine it does. But I will say the one thing that does bother me for real with the VR is that, but I can understand why, is that whenever you do a melee attack when they are stunned, they would just show a video of Leon doing it while he's attacking the enemy, because you wouldn't want to see a first person of just moving around,
doing a
suplex, like, oh my god, like, oh, I'm doing it. But no, you can't do that in real life unless you really want to. But I don't think they're gonna let that happen, because
perform actual move,
perform actual leg movement, going kick, like, I got you, and then you accidentally kick someone's face in real life.
Yeah.
Someone's getting sued.
Probably another reason why I wouldn't really bother with VR, because I know, like, with VR, I feel like I wouldn't be able to handle just the immersion of it. Like, I think that I think I would probably not be able to play for so long, and then, like, I'm going to get a headache. So
yeah, no, that's typical. That's typical for people who don't get used to VR. It's like motion sickness is a thing, and it's understandable.
So I don't think VR is going to be for me. I may try it again in the future, but for now, like, I don't think I see myself getting it. But you've played the Resident Evil VR, Shiny?
I haven't. There's times I want to go buy. I have a Quest 2, but I just hate the meta store so much, and I just won't buy it.
Yeah.
I really won't. I won't do it.
It makes half the sense. I gave up very early on.
Yeah. So Shiny, you did ask us a question. Favorite boss fight and worst boss fight? Favorite boss fight. Oh man. I did like the El Gigante fight. I would have liked the Bella Scissors fight if it wasn't for that backseat gamer that ruined that fight for me. But I really did enjoy the fight. I did enjoy in Resident Evil 7 the whole thing with Lucas, like when you're in that birthday party. I thought it was fun. That was fun. But worst boss fight, it's just the excuse for me to say fuck Marguerite. I hate Marguerite.
Completely valid.
But
no problem.
But I would say that the fucking like tyrants in Resident Evil 0, like what the shit? Okay.
I have to jump in for that. Because I as soon as you said Tyrant, I was like, yes, I do know the worst boss fight. It is Code Veronica's Plain Tyrant, where you can just get knocked out the back, or you can walk into it without enough ammo, or it's just not a fun time. Like anywhere, it's such an easy soft lock spot in the game. It feels real bad, man. It was also the first time that we fought a tyrant and it wasn't the final boss. It was very odd to have that happen in the middle of the game. Very weird. But on the other hand, you know what? I think my favorite boss fight is in 2 Remake, fighting Birkin the second time, where you're on the platform with the shipping crate, because there's actually like a mechanic that you have to do. It's like using the shipping crate to knock him off. It's tough, but it's a really cool fight. And I appreciate that it's something different versus just shoot the monster.
Yeah.
Which is ironic, given that in the Plain Tyrant fight, you also have to hit it with a shipping crate, but it's just executed way worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. So, yeah, I'm
Trying to think.
I want to hear the answers too.
Honestly, it's kind of hard for me to think of a better boss fight, considering that most, but not all, just all most of them are just trying to find the weak points and shoot them till they die, and kind of a trait that Resident Evil has been sometimes been getting, but not always. So, I mean, if anything, I would say the most I had interested in fighting for a different reason or another that isn't something that you had to shoot for a weakness. I kind of like the boss fight in Resident Evil Village with the doll that you had to go find, the real doll, and even before that sequence, you had to go around the freaking baby that followed you inside the basement.
Sequence is my favorite sequence in a game. It's great. That's one of my favorite sequences in a game ever. It's so
probably
good.
The best sequence, I would say, that scared me in that whole game, because just how the fuck that thing is going around and you have no idea where it's gonna go, and you have to go around it, and then you go to fight the doll and you have to find the right doll, or else the doll's minions going after you and stab you a bunch of times. And that, I thought that was a unique sort of boss fight where it's not about shooting and trying to kill it. You just gotta find that doll and just fucking stab it in the brain and till it dies. So yeah, like that one's honestly probably, maybe I would say, one of my favorites. Like there's a bunch of other ones that are good, even if it is just shoot, bang, 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 dead. like it's fine. But the worst for me, it's kind of hard to say which. I mean, I just don't know if I would say which one, because they're like, it really is hard to say which one. I mean, maybe maybe. I guess maybe it would be like from Resident Evil. I don't know. 2 maybe from with the first Birkin fight. I guess it's not the worst I would say, but it's like not the greatest boss fight where you had to go fight him inside the where I guess I would count as in the remake where you had to fight in the area where you were trying to lose him in with the pipes and you had to shake him off with the smoke and all that stuff. Like it was a fine boss fight, but it wouldn't like make me want to go fight it again because it was just go around trying to stop him from finding you and then shoot him again in the big eye in the shoulder. So like it was okay boss fight. I liked it better in the second version with the shipping crates. That was honestly a good one in Resident Evil 2 remake. I like that one. But the first time you fight him, it wasn't the best in my opinion. It was okay. Just whatever. But it's not the worst, but it's just something I would say it was the least interesting boss fight in my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
It's a toss up for me for worst boss fight because there's two that still give me trauma to this day, and the first one is Salazar in the 4 remake fight is probably my least favorite boss fight in any of the Resident Evil games
Fair.
for sure.
Yeah.
In Outbreak, the Apple Orchard, the Apple Inn is the ending sequence. Like that whole stage as a whole, playing that solo is a pain in the butt, but that end sequence is probably my least favorite, and that's the one that got me to drop down a difficulty in order to complete it.
Wow.
Because it was
Oh boy.
that much of a pain in the butt to do solo
Sorry.
when you're trying to like get the AI to like not grab key items that you need, and then you gotta find their dead body if they're dead. So oh my god, it's a mess. But as far as like my favorite boss fight, I don't know if this counts, but like Nemesis as a whole in the original, you had options for every single encounter for the most part, unless it was just like him diving in and like chasing you about. But I did like the option of choice as to what you would do, because then it like part of it like also impacts if whether or not you'd get a key item from him in terms of like your weapons or potentially an ending. So it's like that was my favorite. That's probably my favorite as far as like all the bosses go, is because it was continuous and like you had consequences to your actions.
Yeah. Shiny?
I would say probably my favorite boss fight. I really liked fighting Ramon Salazar's little bodyguard in those hallways when you're trying to stay off to the elevator. Yeah, I really liked that fight. I thought that was really fun to try to like, you can try to survive it and like without having like all your powered up weapons. I thought that was just really interesting. Him just coming after you. I thought that was really, I really liked that fight a lot. It's nothing too crazy, but I just really enjoyed that a lot. Honorable mention goes to the shark in Resident Evil 1, because the first time I fucked up, I got eaten by him. I went near him and then he ate me. I was like, oh, that's not what you do. Whoops, my bad. Worst boss fight for me would probably be Mother Miranda in the Resident Evil Village DLC. I did not care for that entire final sequence. It felt very Dragon Ball Z-esque. It just was like, come on, Dad, we can do this. I'm just like, okay, I don't care. Let's just get over this. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Power of anime and friendship.
Yeah.
That's not what I want from Resident Evil.
Yeah. Well,
doing dodge rolls and
and also I just want to say, like, still on topic with Resident Evil, but off topic with that question, I will say this. Fun fact about me and Resident Evil, I have never seen a single Resident Evil movie ever.
You gotta change that. You gotta watch the original at least.
You gotta at least see the first one.
Like, I remember seeing them because it was just the fact that there was just so many video game movies that just weren't really good. And
Doom.
That's completely fair.
yeah, Doom was definitely up there. Prince of Persia was mediocre at best.
It was okay.
I've seen then again, I've seen the live action Tekken movie, which was okay. It wasn't the worst thing.
I didn't even. I forgot about that.
I almost forgot that was a thing.
There was a live action King of Fighters movie, and that was bad. They made Terry Bogard into a cop. That was a bad movie right there.
Does anybody remember the House of the Dead live action movie?
Yeah.
That's a Uwe Boll movie.
Uwe Boll still maintains that he thinks that movie is great, and it's like,
Yeah, it's kind of
Good for you, buddy. Good for you.
Yeah, like whatever helps you sleep at night, dude. But like, I've seen a lot of bad movies, but I'm really hoping we get like an actual live action Resident Evil movie that actually feels like it's from the games and not whatever they do. Because I would see previews of it, and I'm like, nope. And like it's the same director. Paul, is it Paul W.S. Anderson?
Well, he's produced most of the movies. He did just the first and the last one, but the thing is, they have been getting different directors for each of the movies, and the final chapter was by Paul W.S. Anderson to finish it off. But pretty much all the other movies, he was just a producer, but they had other directors, and most of them were just downright bad.
Then again, Paul W.S. Anderson did a Monster Hunter movie. I'm curious about that one.
Oh yeah.
I heard mixed things. Like, it wasn't the worst, nor was the greatest. It was just in the middle, sort of, because it was taking the way how the games work, where it starts off with a military group, and then suddenly they were and it is not a joke. They were pretty much taking the books of how anime isekai, where they were transported into another world where monster exists. So it's okay.
And spoiler alert for when I get to season 5 of this show next year, I am doing an episode on Monster Hunter. I'll figure that out. But thank you guys for being a part of this show. It was awesome.
Wait, one more thing. I want to change my answer for the worst boss fight. Is it okay if I can just do a little quick thing?
Go ahead.
I have changed my mind. Worst boss fight, in my opinion, it has to be all the different boss fights with Simmons in fucking Resident Evil 6. I almost forgot how I hated
Machine Gun Scorpion T-Rex Fighter Simmons.
Oh my
amazing
god.
to see him changing into different variations of monsters, but it was a slog.
T-Rex Simmons.
T-Rex, mosquitoes, freaking whatever else. Like, that fucking guy just doesn't know when to quit. He keeps
Because a woman talked back to me, I'm not gonna have that. God, dude, what a terrible villain! Jesus.
Probably the worst villain. You know what? He's the worst villain in any Resident Evil, if not any video games, because he just doesn't know when to quit. He doesn't know how to stop being a crybaby. He just fucking goes on, and just it is like it feels like the last chapter felt like I'm on a fucking 2-hour movie that just doesn't know when to stop for the villain to be like, okay, I'm dead, I guess. Because really, we keep killing him, we keep seeing him die, and yet we just be like, how are you alive? How the are you alive? Just every time until we finally kill him with the freaking rocket launcher and actually freaking killed him, just so that we can just stop playing this goddamn game.
Yeah.
Just at least the campaign with Leon. And And I was like, oh God, thank God it's over. Thank God. And oh my God, I just realized I had to do all the other campaigns.
And,
Fuck.
and with that is going to do it with Share with Shellshock.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for being a part of this. Epic Man, Bookslap, Shiny,
welcome.
Joe.
Thank you.
Good to have you four
Yeah, thanks for
on.
having us.
Hell yeah.
Yes. So
God.
before we sign off, Epic Man, where can we find you?
All right, you can find me at the Blue Sky website with the Epic Man World. That's my handle. Same thing on Twitter if you want there, if you're brave enough.
Not me.
But I also aim on. I know you're not there, but I'm on Twitch on twitch.tv/the Epicman World. I'm at the moment. I'm not in New York. I'm away in Dominican Republic, so I'll be back sooner, and I will go back doing more streams. I have plans that I wanted to do regarding with Mario Kart and
Nice.
some other playthroughs I want to do, but I have plans I wanted to try on. So yeah, I'll be back soon in November. So yeah, look out for that.
All right. Awesome. Bookslap, where can we find you?
You can find me as Bookslap on whatever sites that I'm on. So Twitch, I stream Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. Tuesday and Thursday nights, Sunday mornings. I'm also on Blue Sky, where I post a whole lot about weird stuff and a lot of pictures of my dogs. You might have seen like bouncing around behind me. Look
Yeah.
where they are right now.
Doggos.
I also sometimes upload things to YouTube, like VODs and things, also on Bookslap, but Discord, I'm all around. Just start searching, just start typing Bookslap, one word, into things, and you'll probably find me somewhere.
All right. Sounds good. Shiny, where can we find you?
Same, the shiny one on pretty much all socials. I think I was able to actually get my name for pretty much everything. I don't really upload. I'm terrible at it. I always have clips in the backlog that I upload. My last clip I think I uploaded on TikTok was maybe like 2 months ago. I don't remember. I'm around. I'm occasional on the weekends. Just you find me. You think I'm interesting. I'm on all the medias.
Yep.
Drop a follow.
All right. And what about you, Joe? Where can we find you?
I make it pretty easy. I'm JoAfterWork everywhere. So if you type in my name, I should show up. It doesn't matter to socials. I'm everywhere. I stream right now. I'm streaming every other day. So that's pretty much going until TwitchCon. So that's this coming weekend.
Yeah.
That's
That
pretty
is.
much it. Make it easy.
Yeah, have fun at TwitchCon, dude.
Yeah.
Be a good time.
Yep. And you can also find me pretty much in a lot of places, but like I'm mainly on Blue Sky, Discord, but then I also stream on Twitch, and I also upload my VODs to YouTube. I stream usually like Monday through Thursdays, like from like 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern until midnight. Occasional Friday and Sunday streams. So there will not be an episode of Share with Shellshock next week, but in the following week there will be, and it's going to be about cosplay because Halloween's coming up. So
Nice.
great time to talk about cosplay. So, and joining me for that will be Mansell Ferox, Hito Retro Gaming. I have Sir Pugs, and I have T and Angelic. Those will be my guests for the next episode of Share with Shellshock. Coming really soon. It's going to be towards the end of the month, so stay tuned for that. We'll talk a lot about cosplay because I also dabble in cosplay, so I have a lot to talk about regarding that.
I actually did not know that about you. I am now very curious.
Well,
I will have to check in 2 weeks.
Yep.
You will have to.
Yep, absolutely. And once again, Epic Man, Bookslap, Shiny, Joe, thank you guys once again for being a part of this episode of Share with Shellshock.
Yeah.
Welcome. Anytime.
Yep.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
So, as always, make sure to take care of yourselves. Be awesome. Stay awesome. Tell your loved ones you love them. Check out them as always. Fight for lasting peace, and I'll see you guys next time. I'm gonna deafen, so I'll be with you guys in a little bit, but I'm gonna roll the credits. So, take care, everybody.
Take care, everyone. Bye.
Thanks for watching Share with Shellshock Season 4. Your name will be inscribed in the pages of podcast history.